folks. Happy Sunday. Coming in for a little bonus live stream. Thought I'd have a little fun, do a little post-national thing. Good evening, Bobby. How are you?
Good, Carlos. How are you?
I'm doing well.
It's nice having a Monday off, isn't it?
It is. It is. Well, when you made the suggestion, I think it really, what got the gears going a little bit was that it was the Monday off. I have some stuff I have to do on Monday, but it means I got a little room to work with, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that.
Sure.
And I know tonight I think it's going to a little bit busy because I think Flip and Steve has decided he's going to do a little live stream tonight, so it'll be a busy Sunday going on like the old days. So good evening, Name. You are indeed first, 100%. A couple of minutes before we get started. J.W. Fulcher second, and Jeff McMahon third. And hello to all three of you. So we're going to have a little bit of fun today, I think. It's going to be very light. We're just going to be having a little bit of fun. Back on the Sunday for the first time in a little while. This used to be the day, but I think we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, we're certainly not lacking for content on the National.
Exactly. So that's kind of the reason why I thought it'd be kind of fun. And we're going to take a little different slant on the whole national talk than a lot of folks do because number one, we weren't there. Number two, we kind of live vicariously through the content. And also, I wasn't looking at the same stuff everybody else was looking at. I mentioned to Bobby, I was looking for, and I mentioned on the Friday thing, I'm playing the Where's Waldo game. I'm looking to see like what kind of stuff is a little bit more interesting. Stuff that is interesting to me, not just the cards, but cards are part of it. But like on Friday, I showed you guys the NBA Jam game that happened to be in the corner of Darren Ravel's table. That's what I was paying attention to. That caught my eye. So I was looking for these little weird cameo appearances and items and different stuff that I thought would be kind of interesting.
It is always interesting as the path less followed.
Well, the other stuff you'll get everywhere else. You will 100% get it. It's like you don't need to work too hard. You will find it.
Mm-hmm.
So good evening, Aussie Card Dad. Absolutely. Got to see what the vibe in the room is. Yes, Dave. Yes. And you have the link if you want to pop in and give your own vibe to the room. So you're more than welcome to. You are always welcome. You know that. Plus, I think Dave has opinions on the National. I know he's going to do the thing on Tuesday, but here's one thing I guarantee. The discussion they're going to have on the fallout of the National is going to be completely different than the one we have right now. Guaranteed. So don't worry, it won't infringe on your content. You will have plenty. I assure you. I promise.
Yeah.
All right. So good evening, Ziggy, and good evening, Chris. Good stuff. So first, let me do the really fun ones. So what I'll do is I will credit this when and if they're around to mention, but I did receive a ping through Facebook. And like I said, I was looking for different and weird cameo appearances, different stuff. And one of them that was presented, this was sent to me on Facebook. I had to adjust it because it was tilted. It was tilted 90 degrees, so I had to fix it so that it would come up correctly. But I was able to do that. So let me see here. I think I can do, share video file. Actually, share screen probably would work. Let me see. Yes, perfect. Okay, here we go. So here's a little video clip. I'll just play it for you guys quickly. I don't think it will have audio on it. It might. I'll just turn it down just in case. It's just what we're going to see. So look, pay attention to the left side of the screen. Wild Daps Man appears. So of course that's the reason they said it. There's really not much to it. It's literally a 9-second clip, but it's just very funny that you had the show floor and then immediately a Wild Daps Man appears just out of the corner, right on time, right on schedule. So people are paying attention. They're looking out. Basically, the message that came along with it is like, hey, look who it is. Yep, good old Daps Man.
There we go.
So good evening, Paul.
He is there after all.
Absolutely. So here we go. Aussie Card Dad just spent some time this morning watching Daps Man at the National. He was all about the kids, which is very worrying. Kids with a Z. Very important.
Where was his entourage?
Well, in that clip, he didn't have his entourage, but in all his videos, he definitely had an entourage. So, so there you go. There you go. Dave enjoyed it. So yeah, it was one of those things where I got that clip. So I say I wasn't there, and yet Daps Man came to us. So that's a little bonus. That was not part of any vlog. That was a direct video sent over. So there you go. Yep, Daps in the wild. Exactly. A wild Daps Man appears. Yeah. So let me review back. So I've got a couple of pictures that we're going to include that I did pull from some vlogs for sure and for fun, no doubt. But one of the things that we'll have a little fun with here is, so I'll start off with the one that we already know, one of my favorites. And if you guys saw the picture that I included in the thumbnail, my good old friend, I'm going to call him Redemption Guy for now until we got to workshop something better. But for now, we're going to go with Redemption Guy and you'll know who I mean. So I'll quickly pull through the little slideshow. We'll definitely do that. And I'll explain, there's a couple of them. The first ones are ones that I've already shown, but then there's some other ones I want to do as well. So let's start off with this. So of course we got a Redemption Guy. We saw him on Friday, so we know this man.
Well, see how it says beside his head there. You can see NINI.
Yeah, Ninny.
Well, we'll call it Nini, but I mean Nini. Yeah, you could get
Yeah.
there. It was perfect. It was like right by his head. That's me.
But I did say something, and those of you who were paying attention to the thumbnail, you would have noticed it wasn't this picture. It was actually this picture that I used.
Yes.
So a little bit different, and that actually came from this. So this is actually from a different vlog. Now, what's great is he doesn't have his sign with him, but like the face has not changed, which begs the question: he's literally being
He's
interviewed.
being
There is a
interviewed.
microphone. There's a microphone being pointed at. He's not looking at this man, and he's got the bulging eyes looking off in the distance to Lord knows what.
He's doing the Marcel Marceau kind of routine there. It looks.
All I gotta say is that for until I don't care what anybody else was going at the National, this man is my mascot of the 2021 National. As
That's
far
for
as I'm
sure.
concerned,
Yeah.
Redemption Guy, that's him. I did mention to the guys though in the text message thread though that I would like to think, and what I've decided is that what is now canon is that he never actually did meet with Panini. He actually walked around with the sign. I've decided, regardless of what he did, I've decided that he walked around with the sign the entire show, trying to get recognition, and Panini was there going like, "We have your redemption, sir. We've been trying to get it to you for years." That would make an infinitely
keeps running
funnier.
your way.
It's like it would make an infinitely funnier story if he comes back at 2022 in Atlantic City. They're like, "I want to be recognized," and Panini's like, "Will you just take your redemption, sir? We've been trying to give it to you for 10 years."
Well, you just made him famous. There he is.
There he is. So, in addition to my good friend here, my official, unofficial mascot, Redemption Guy. Quickly, I'll grab a couple of the comments here. Good evening. Yeah, unlike Jeff Wilson, no Daps posse. He did have a posse earlier though. So Adam Baker, good evening. And did you talk about what happened with Chris Chan? Not sure. You're gonna have to elaborate on that. No idea. Now I did grab a couple of other screen grabs. So this, let me skip one and then I'll come back to this one. So if you remember the conversation we had about Bob Lewis, I got my Supreme case, Bobby. I got my Supreme case. As soon as I saw it, I laughed. I was like, yes. No Louis Vuitton, none of that other stuff. Supreme. Good old Supreme. This one was good. On this show, this was actually one I caught today. On this showcase, of all things, we got the goat of goats, Bobby. We got Ziggy Palfy. Not
There he
one,
is.
but two Ziggy Palfies.
Huh.
And a Sanda Zozolich for good measure.
There might be even that might be stacked on another Ziggy Palfy because it looks like it's a double stack there.
Exactly. Love it. That's good stuff. Always fun. So let's take a look here. So give me a second, and then we'll do one more here. I like this one just because I like seeing the shots of the different wax stuff. I was looking at the prices on this one. So this was, I want to say it wasn't David Adams, I think. It was one of the other show vendors. But I was looking at the different boxes here. And they had a bunch of panning shots of these. But I was paying attention to these because this was a lot of the late 80s and early 90s stuff. And you knew the prices were going to creep up. But some of the stuff, it was like, really? Come on, man. Because 1989 tops, $39. There's nothing in it.
Nothing.
You can buy boxes and boxes. Some of the stuff, if you wanted to go borderline, 87 tops got a boost when Barry Bonds was doing his home run chase and some of that stuff, because it does have a Bonds rookie in there. There is some stuff. Paul Merrow, before he ruined himself, reputation-wise, that was one that was in there. And even the McGuire is very popular. The 87 tops McGuire was the first one with him in the Oakland uniform in main tops. The 85 is considered his rookie, but the 87 is still a very popular card. But 89, there's some players in there. I think Gary Sheffield, if memory serves me. There's a couple other guys in there who are, great players, Hall of Famers, the whole 9 yards. But nothing in there that I would pay $39 for a wax box for. But it was interesting. It was this interesting snapshot of where the current state is, just where it is in 2021. Because
That's actually pretty cheap, to be honest with you. If
there's only so much you can do with 89 tops, as much as you want to try to push it.
It's a nostalgia thing where a guy's going to remember opening a box and he grabs a box for $40. That's actually probably one of the cheapest box with a sense of nostalgia in it than anything else.
That I would agree with. But I remember buying that box for like $10, Bobby.
So it's went up 4 times. It's no big deal. Look at all the other boxes. In
relative terms, yes, but it's at $10. It's funny to open. At $39, it is not funny to open. It's like even for nostalgia purposes, you know what? I'll scrap nostalgia for that. We can scrap it. We're sorry. That ain't gonna happen for me. So anyway, I just thought I'd grab a couple of screen grabs from some of those just because those are fun. And the Palfy, of course, as soon as I saw the Palfy. Nice. Yeah.
Some more good screenshots as we watch some more videos. try to catch some other stuff. I wonder, what happened with the so-called vintage. I didn't see any vintage video shots, or I haven't had time to go
Vintage
through a
video
lot.
shot. You mean like
Of
showing
the
vintage tables?
usually, they'll check out the Lelands and the other major auction houses and what they have, like the Babe
Mhm.
Ruth this or that.
Oh, I no, I definitely saw vlogs that went to like the museum stuff. They went
Oh,
they
okay.
went to because they would show the jerseys. There was a display of like the Ty Cobb find with all those
Hmm.
Ty Cobbs. I definitely saw that.
Okay.
It made it into a couple of. It's usually like some as they would walk around,
Yeah.
they would definitely check it out. But
Yeah.
they showed it for sure.
Yeah, I saw some, but I didn't see any focus. So I
Yeah.
wonder how good they did in the vintage area, opposed to the obviously, they said this is one of the best
Mhm.
nationals ever for, I guess, attendance, and which is great. Sales wise, that's where we want to see how it did and what's happening out there. So
For sure. I would say in a lot of the collector ones where they did their pickups, I definitely saw some folks took advantage to buy some vintage because I saw, 55 tops Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente rookie. Because people who are collecting, it depends on which one. I like to watch both. So I got the full gamut. I got the folks that bought the newer stuff. But then I also saw some folks that went out of their way to go, oh, I want to get this Jackie Robinson card. I think Mike O got a 1950 Bowman Jackie Robinson. Stuff like that. They would go out of their way to go look for find some stuff. And plenty of dealers had it. So it's one of those things where those dealers who did have, they had those people to sell. And then we got Rick here who can attest to that a little bit as well. So good evening, Yannick. $7 would be $4 too much. That is a fact. I'll quickly touch on this one here. Read the title more carefully. That's all I'll say about that one. Anyway, so here you go. The title says National Post Show. The show is post the National, not about post National.
No.
So I am on topic. But
or the newspaper in Toronto.
Exactly. So it says, so this is Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. Not much hockey at the National, unfortunately. It was almost even between vintage and modern sports cards this year. So there you go. So because Rick is a vintage collector, so he would be able to attest to that, the breakdown a little bit more. But I did notice that, again, it depended on which type of vlog you were getting. If you were getting a vlog of somebody who does a lot of modern, they're going to fixate and focus on, you're going to get a lot of modern basketball. But then other folks that were more even were able to go in and be like, oh, yeah, I definitely saw a ton of modern, but then over here you got a vintage table. Over here you got a vintage table. Over here you got a vintage table. And if that's what you were looking for, you were able to find them. They were out there.
Yeah, it's what's his name had a contest in oh geez, I can't remember his name now. The guy who does the sports card investor.
Jeff Wilson.
Jeff Wilson. Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
He had a little competition with his people to go out and find him a piece iconic to hang in his shop for $5,000. That's what they had. So he broke them up into two groups and they all went. The funny thing is what they chose is interesting. They chose a vintage Muhammad Ali boxing signed jersey framed signed shorts.
Yeah, his fighting shorts.
It was kind of interesting that he would grab something like that. I'm seeing that a lot of these guys are interested in the vintage to a degree. Although modern collectors, the vintage pieces are slowly catching on to quite a few of them. Certain pieces.
But I think also he did set the parameters though. He did say that he wanted to have something that was a showpiece for the office. Sure. And it's one of those things where if you're showing off a bunch of memorabilia, and he also made clear it's like I would love to have a piece from one of the GOATs. Well, Muhammad Ali in boxing, that would definitely qualify. That it makes logical sense.
Yeah, I get it. There's not a lot of boxing cards out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, even a card though, like if you're putting it in the office, the trunks signed are a pretty big display piece. Yeah, even a really cool card, it's like it's relatively small on the wall. If you got a wall of cards, that's one thing. That's what Beckett did with his whole background thing. He put a wall of cards. A wall of cards is a display piece. One single card in the middle of the room is a little weird. It's a little awkward. You could try it, but it'd be weird. Anyway, Aussie Card Dad says your 89 tops, turn your $39 into $390 worth of cards. That might be a little high, but you're bang on. Hashtag invest. Stove collector now. It's like, he's shorting it up to collector.
That's about the right ratio if you consider what they paid. They did Pack Wars with Golden there, Jeff, and they what did they pay? $1,500 for that box, and they got a few $100s in cards.
Probably, yeah.
So I think the ratio is about even.
The ratio might be even. I still don't want to pay $39.
Well, I'd rather be out the $35 opposed to $600, $700, $800. Anyways,
That is true.
just
Or
saying.
I could buy neither and be out nothing, and buy a single.
Yes, but you lack the form of entertainment that surrounds
Well,
holding them out.
that's what I get a new blaster for,
And the
though.
video content.
That's where if I can get a
Whew.
blaster for retail, that's about $30. It's a little bit
And the
less.
clicks and the subs you're going to get from that, you can't buy that stuff. You
Well,
can actually, but
the last couple of shows have definitely been a big boost to his channel. Like they've definitely
oh
seen
yeah,
a lot of big
he's
boosts
done a
from it.
good job.
And
I'll
here's
give
the
him
thing:
credit.
we'll give him credit for this. In terms of production quality on the vlogs, they were top tier. And the
Sure.
Card Ladder guys released one video, but they tried to do a documentary style with like interview thing, and they made it very dramatic. And they had Nat Turner buying a card. Nobody else caught that on a vlog. Nobody.
Nope.
So there you go. Yeah. So Rick says past years usually 70-30 vintage. That sounds about right. Yeah. I would say that you definitely got an influx of the younger dealers bringing in the more modern stuff because they were in like kind of that red carpet area. A lot of folks referenced that there was the main show floor, but then there was a red carpet area, which is literally red carpets. There was an extension, like further beyond where previous Chicago Nationals had been there to get more space. But then that's where some of the newer dealers ended up, just because it's like, well, the dealers that were there forever already have their spots cherry picked. Like, this is my spot. I'm paying for it. I've had it the last 20 years. This is my spot. So they were able to have that. But then you got to find room for these new guys. So you go put them over all the way at the end. But then there's that red carpet area over there.
Yep. And 20 years ago, it was 70-30 the other way.
Probably. Sounds about right.
Oh, it was. Yeah, for sure. There was more vintage people there than so-called. Well, that was kind of going with the modern at that time because I think 2000 is kind of the so-called true age of modern. So I would say that that's a good ratio.
I think that's fair. Now, what I'll do is I'll share one. And like I said, I tried to go off the beaten path a little bit. That's why I wanted to show I showed those little images because they were fun. But then one thing that was kind of enjoyable is it wasn't all vlogs because of course we have social media, we've got Instagram, we've got all this other stuff. But sometimes you catch some stuff in there that you don't catch on YouTube because it didn't make YouTube. And one of the guys who's been on the channel before, CRT Sports Cards. So Chris from CRT Sports Card, who did the Project 2020 and now does the Project 70 and all that stuff. He actually decided to take on a little project, and I'll quickly show it to you guys. But it was all through Instagram that he shared it, and once he shared it, he said he was thinking about doing a video about it, and I encouraged him. I said, no, it would actually make an interesting video. I'll show it and then I'll explain.
Okay.
So this is from CRT, so CRT _ sports cards on Instagram. So what he did in the National is he actually went and bought a starter set of 71 tops. So he started off with 539 cards in a starter set. By the time he finished there in the show, he didn't leave the building. Well, I should say, over the course of the couple of days, he kept chipping away at the set. He actually unofficially completed the set at the National before finishing. So I think it's 752 cards set. He got the last card. I say unofficially, and I'll explain the caveat. There is a caveat, but he technically did buy everything related to stuff at the National, and the Willie Mays was the last card. And the only caveat is covered here. He says he did use a eBay $10 off coupon to get the Thurman Munson. So that one was purchased on eBay, but it was purchased with a coupon that he got at the National, and the other 751 cards were all purchased on the grounds.
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
Yeah, we'll give it to him because he did it in 4 days. So like either way, however you want to slice it, it's pretty good. And it wasn't like a high-end
short
set.
prints too, right?
It's got high numbers. Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually a very tough set. I'm legitimately impressed.
Some of those checklists are hard to find.
Yeah, you couldn't unless you bought the set as a whole. Getting all the high numbers, you got to go work the room, find the dealers that have the inventory, and go look through it.
But it's a popular set, a popular year, and I'm sure a lot of dealers bring that stuff and put it out, and it's easy to find. So, I'm sure he had some fun going around doing it. That's a great challenge. That's an awesome challenge because it's a great set. Tough though, boy. Those supporters are. What do you think Gretzky's rookie year is bad? Those are the worst.
Yep. Okay, real quick here. I'm gonna grab a couple comments. I'll have a little fun here. So Chris here says, what do you think of all the card show atmosphere at all the trade night activities? Kind of like a whole other scene and show. Yes. I've actually got a clip that I'll pull up on that because there was those back pages. So Eric, those back pages actually walked around one of those impromptu trade nights and actually walked around the room and got a sense of it. It was actually very good. Now I want to have a little fun with this one. So I've said this before and I've explained it previously, but I'm going to do it again here. So, Mr. Wonderful. Flippin' Steve, which I said earlier, is going to have one. Starts in about 30 minutes. Carlos talks to entertain himself. Yes, I do. That's why my name is on the channel. But since Mr. Wonderful previously, if you remember, those of you who remember historically, Mr. Wonderful is somebody who was worried that he was getting removed. And now he will be. Because if you don't want to be around, go away. Go away. I make it easy for you.
He's a Canadian, you know.
Who cares?
I don't know who he is. I have no idea who he is. It's what he said one time, then I knew he was Canadian.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he can go all the way to the north and hang out with the moose. They're his friends.
Yeah, but Ziggy's, anyways.
Whatever. Anyway, so Paul says here, red carpet isn't classier. That's all. Yeah, that was the extended area. So here we go. Aussie Card Dad. Question for both. What years do you consider vintage, modern, starting, ending? I'll take a quick stab at it, Bobby, and then you go for it. For me, it's 79 was traditionally 79, 80 was traditionally the time. That was what it was. Now, the problem is, as we've gotten further removed from it, it's gotten trickier. To me, I don't consider the 80s vintage. But you take somebody who's 20 years old, 80s is totally vintage. Oh my God, that's before I was born, you know. I understand it. We're almost stuck having to, I really do think we need eras. We need something in there to fill the gap, because pre-war was easy. Before and after World War II, that was easy. We were able to do that. Then you had kind of that golden era in the 50s and then you had the monopoly era leading into basically 1981. So, but then after that, it gets murky. Once you get to 3 manufacturers and now you've opened it up and we ramp up into the 80s, now it's something else. It's a different thing, but it's not like modern. I can't call that modern, because things change again and they change again. And then we introduce autographs, we introduce memorabilia, we keep adjusting, we keep moving the goalposts. It's not the same era. I can't treat it the same.
Mm-hmm. True. Well, I think for me, it's and hockey differs from baseball completely, because baseball started a little bit earlier than hockey. You know, we got a late start, so to speak. So I always consider, or I try to keep things vintage. You know, I call it the VHC, the vintage hockey collector, and I call it that for the reason I keep everything below 1990. The last so-called boom, I guess, we had in the hobby, and which created most of the collectors that we have in the last 30 years. So that's where I stress vintage, but I don't really call them those are vintage. So, you know, it's whatever you feel vintage is. It's up to you. It's a very loose term that you can use. You know, I think 80s is, you know, I wasn't collecting cards in the 80s. I was collecting them in the 70s.
No, for sure. But I think I try to look, whenever I try to find that era, though, what I'm saying is I need, something had to change. It can't just be released a different set. If we go from 78 to 79.
They got rid of the bubble gum. How's that? That's a key marker
exactly.
in anything.
You need
no more kids. It's all...
You need something significant, something that separates one from another.
Yeah, sure.
Because the whole post-war, pre-war thing, the reason why it was such a good marker, in addition to the World War, the biggest reason why is because they had cards prior to that, but they were spotty. It wasn't a consistent thing by the same manufacturer every single year. And then after 48, Bowman keeps going until 55, until they get bought up by Topps. And then Topps continues into the modern day. So there was a consistency. Yep. They would keep chugging along. More sets some years, less sets some years, food issues, all that would keep going. Yep. But you had something, that common thread of consistency. Before that, it would be like, yeah, we have a couple of years of this, we have a couple of years of that, a little bit here, a little bit there. Pre-war tobacco sets, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's not a consistent thing every single year for a long time. Sure.
But, you know, you can go back to the late 80s and say, you know, that's kind of the mass production kind of crazy stuff going on.
You can. But just producing more cards doesn't fundamentally change what we're purchasing. The gum thing might be actually a very good marker, because that was the last vestige of, originally we were trying to sell gum. Now we're just selling cards. Period. End of story.
That's it.
There's no qualifiers. So good evening, Brad. We did have a little fun. Even though you weren't here, we definitely had some fun with you on Friday that you were here.
Upper Deck didn't have a gum manufacturing machine, so.
There you go. Absolutely. The guys are chatting. Well, he calls himself Mr. Wonderful. Listen, the only Mr. Wonderful was Paul Orndorff. And then there's that other guy, Leary. There's that guy, he calls himself Mr. Wonderful, I think, too.
Oh, Timothy Leary? Is that him?
It's the guy who's in the Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah, the guy who, yeah.
Yeah, but he calls himself Mr. Wonderful too. So
Does
like
he really?
he kind of co-opted the name.
Well, he's a little narcissistic, so.
Well, it is. Thank you, Dame. Appreciate it. Anyway, so yeah, the trade night is the one that that Rick is talking about here, which I actually pulled up a clipboard. So again,
Okay.
full credit to those back pages, Eric. He's the one who gets credit for this. This is his video, and it's in his blog called. It was episode 386. If you guys are curious, you can check it out. It's the National Day 3 recap. That's the one where he walked around a little bit. It'll give you a taste of one of the days that they did that impromptu card show.
Nice.
So let me go here for a second, and I'll pull that up.
Yeah.
I'll do it without the audio because Eric is trying to talk through it, and he's trying to talk through it while there's a crowd, so the audio isn't the best. So I'll spare you guys that a little bit, but I can still play it. Okay, so let me just drop this for a second. So this is the trade night. This is one of them that is an impromptu trade night at a hotel. And basically, he's just walking through. So what happened is this is not a sanctioned trade night. People just started grabbing tables and just set up there in the kind of the corridor hallway.
Is that the corridor?
Yeah, like this is in the like a corridor hallway in a hotel, like near the conference area or something. Like this wasn't. People just started doing it, and then more people came and more people came, and this is after hours of the show. This has nothing to do with the show, and it's not the Card Collector 2 trade night. That's something else.
Yes, I understand.
So that's Silver Jackify and Parlay J. I recognize some of the faces from time. I think JT was on the left. So like Eric was walking around. So you can definitely see, like, if you really pay attention, if you're sharp-eyed, you can probably catch some YouTubers there because they were around. You would be able to see them a little bit. And I think at the beginning of the clip, I think the back of Jeremy's head was in part of the clip.
I can usually spot that pretty good.
I think I skipped past it accidentally.
I got some nice videos with his head in there, and his
his head gets into plenty of shots on Instagram anyway. He doesn't need more help. So, but you can see, like, look how full it is. Like this again, this is not a show related thing.
That is the hotel foyer, or close to it.
I genuinely don't know what part of the hotel it was. I just know it was part of the hotel.
And there's a walkway to there, isn't there?
And I know the YouTubers were doing a gathering around the same time, but then this also happened spontaneously separately.
That's crazy! Look at that.
Yeah. So these are kind of the side trade nights. A lot going on. So it gives you a taste. If stuff like this for vlogs is cool, because if you're not there, like, you get at least a little bit of a sense when people are walking through. You get, like, look at the massive humanity.
Yeah.
And people are trading. And by the way, deals are being done. Like, people are doing trades and deals and money's changing hands. There's stuff happening there.
Nary a mask in sight.
I think you can pretty much give up on that if you watch enough of the vlogs. But nonetheless, it does capture a moment in time. That cannot be doubted. It is a moment in time, and here it is documented for your purposes. So like I said, episode 386, those back pages, that's Eric's channel. You can check it out if you don't already know the guy. And boom.
This thing keeps going.
Oh, it does. That's why I say, like, I give him full credit. He actually kept walking through so that you could actually get a taste of what was going on. Which is very interesting.
The ice bar.
There we go.
It must have hockey, right?
Not so much. So there you go. There's a little taste. There's a little taste of the hotel in Chicago after one of the nights of the show. So it was Kevin O'Leary here. Gotcha.
Kevin O'Leary.
And I'll get caught up here. So in 20 or 30 years, when the 90s is considered vintage, what will vintage be called? That's why I keep saying that my thought process is that we're going to have to come up with some names. Yeah, no, we'll see. Comics did this though. They had the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and all that. They came up with something that at least helped them as they were able to go along. It's useful for collectors because at least they can be like, okay, so when you're saying Silver Age, you're talking between this year and this year. Okay, now I got you.
And I never understood that. I collected comics and I still never got silver, bronze, or whatever. If you're a collector, you know. If you don't, you don't. And some of the people who do collect don't know either. So what is Silver Age? Just quick. Hello?
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Neither would I.
But I think it was in the 70s.
As good as it is, it's not so good for anybody else.
Yeah, but if you ask a comic guy, though, they'll know. They'll be able to tell you the year range.
Yeah, but do we want to keep it that way?
No. Tell it to the comic guys. They've been doing it for a little while. I didn't invent it. It wasn't my call. It was Kevin O'Leary. So
the Dapsman age. We got.
Yeah, exactly. The Dapsman age. Yeah, hockey guy. It's like I was surprised the hotel. I can imagine the hotels being accommodating, but at a certain point, you got to think like, hey guys, if you're not paying for the room, why are we letting you have the room?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That'd be just me. So there you go. I think they would have been happy just attending the trade nights and foregoing the show altogether. Here's the thing: if you genuinely just wanted to do a lot of dealing, the trade nights probably work just as well without having to be on the main show floor and dealing with that part of it. if that's what you wanted to do. Like it would have actually been quite a bit there. So you go. Brad says the front desk is to the right there. Perfect. Thank you, Brad.
I thought it was because I could see the slots there, but nobody was there.
Yeah. No, it's very helpful. I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here.
Sure.
We'll get into it here. Reminds me of the gem show in Tucson, where they have the main show and then have the hotels that you buy from people's rooms and get the deals. Okay, very cool. I suspect it was probably internet based because I can imagine the streaming from the show floor wouldn't have been not so great.
I
I
think
know
he
this,
did on Instagram.
that's possible.
He did some
I know he
videos,
did
but I
a
never looked. I did see it, but I didn't
yeah. I know
watch
he
it.
did a brief. I know he did a brief thing at one of the like the panels or one of the things happening on the stage. Like he was there with the camera.
This
I
is
don't
a
know if he did.
freelance one
Yeah.
that he was
No, no, no.
doing on the short.
That's what I'm talking about. He grabbed his phone and basically recorded it. There was something happening on the stage at one point in Instagram, and he basically stood there with the phone and just recorded what was happening.
Okay, I thought it was in the show. He was doing a freelance something or other.
Yeah. So there we go. Imagine police were called. I don't know. It'd be tough. Too hard to film something and be present in the moment. Yep. Here we go. So Rick, Filmington's party was at the bar at Lou's that night. 100 YouTubers in a bar. Yep. That's exactly right. That was part of what was going on around the same time. The fire marshal, yes. Modern vintage. What age is it now? The tin can age? Could be. Junk slap parallel age. Okay, here we go. Hockey guy gives it. Golden age is 38 to 56. Silver 56 to 1970. Bronze 70 to 84. 85 to now is considered the modern age. At some point, though, they'll probably have to come up with another name, though, because that will to be modern age will get very long. And that's
Yes.
they did. PSA sort of cheated their way around this though, because they did come up with ultra modern. Because ultra modern covers the
True.
last couple of years, so at least it gives them something else. There you go. Jeremy tried, but he had technical problems. Gotcha. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate the clarification.
So there's
So
about 15 years in every gap there.
Yeah, there was a time where they were able to follow a pretty neat one, but that modern age, as it says, is now getting longer because now modern age is almost 30 years long. So
Yes,
well over
too
30,
long.
sorry, 36 years. So like it's progressively gets worse. That's why I propose that the problem is going to be like, okay, but even if you want to call it modern, you can't make modern last forever.
Yeah, you can make parallels. It works.
Sure, exactly.
Green, red,
Yeah,
blue,
but you have
purple,
to.
orange.
If you want to be able to designate it the way we had it at one point, is that at some point either you just say the decade and just be done with it,
Basically, simple.
yeah, that might be your only shot. It's like, post millennium, and that buys you to about 20 years.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that buys you about 20 years. At least that cuts it down a little bit. So it's like, but you run into problems eventually. It's like, okay, what about when we get to 2040? I don't know. So there you go. So there you go. Aussie Card Dad. Neo's latest video said the hotel staff moved them all into a conference room as hotel guests were complaining. I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, so they could conference rooms probably would be the easiest way for them to get them kind of the way. But I'm surprised that they didn't. Again, the hotel's trying to be accommodating because some of those folks probably were guests there too. But yeah, I could imagine that being really annoying because some of those trade nights were going into the morning, like into like 1 or 2 in the morning or thereabouts, and it was still going on. It's like if you're one of the lower floors and you're trying to sleep, it's like, all right, I don't care how much you want the Zion for, sir.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a fair bit of drinking going on, so I'm sure that things were a little bit louder than probably normal.
Sounds good. Well, the advantage we have here is that we do have a couple of folks who are at least familiar. Brad was definitely at the show. Rick was at the show, which is awesome. That's great. So, Rick, I suspect you'll have your own video talking about some of the other stuff. But anything else kind of caught your eye? Obviously, other than you met up with folks, you guys did have the Filmington thing going on. That was cool. I know Mike Baseball Collector did a little walk around during one of those YouTuber gatherings where there was a lot of folks there.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Rick there as well, and I saw Ed, and I saw a couple of folks. Brad, I think, was in that one too. Filmington. Like, you could recognize the names if you looked around. Anything else kind of caught your eye? Anything surprised you at the show, Rick? Maybe that would be and I would also put that to Brad, since you guys were both at the show. Did anything surprise you that you were expecting?
Was there a lot of cash deals, cash and trade deals, just trade deals?
Yeah, exactly. Hockey guy's 100% right. It becomes easier after the fact to divide them once you can recognize trends, features. Yeah. And it's true. In the moment, you're not going to know because it doesn't feel like a big shift. I think when, that's why I say when I use cards, I think of when memorabilia cards came out, they were a big novelty, but you didn't know that they would continue going on until today. You suspected maybe, but obviously it only worked because they were so popular, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, makes sense.
Or you can just call it the decade. It doesn't really matter,
I think that's where we'll end up, though. That's probably what's going to end up happening.
The 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. It's easier.
For sure. No, that's okay, Rick. So it's all good. Anything? I'm just asking in general. If you have any, if anything kind of caught your eye, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you at least chiming in here in the chat. So Brad here says something people didn't expect. There were plenty of supplies and they weren't horribly expensive. That's cool. That's good. That's good to know.
I seen there was lots of supplies, but not the right ones. Like the people were looking for penny sleeves and top loaders, and but they had a lot of the bigger, bulkier stuff.
Yeah, for memorabilia and stuff. Yeah, that was one of the things I got. Quite a sense of from some folks that were talking about it. But again, you're always going to get a prism, right? Because if somebody walked in early on in the first day and bought cases of penny sleeves and top loaders, oh, we got plenty.
Hoarding, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And then they got them for sale at their booth.
Yeah, so technically there might have been plenty if you were right there at the moment. That's always the problem. So I'd say in cars were in the parallel age, started around 2002, 2003-ish. Okay. Although we did have parallels in the late 90s. So, but I get what you're saying. When they started doing tons. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
The slab-avalanche era. There you go. Lots of avalanche junk slab age. Yeah, yeah. Okay, how's the car dead? But when do you want to start the junk slab age? What year? Because PSA came out in 91. I don't think you're going to be able to go that far back. You're thinking when you reach saturation. Because in 91, they're not going to hit saturation. It took years.
Yeah.
Maybe in the early 2000s.
2000s.
Yeah, it'd have to be something like that. It sometime needed to pass for there to be enough on the market for it to be a thing. But it's still predominantly raw well into the early 2000s. Most people did grade, but it was less common.
Wasn't worth it, yeah.
Yeah, it was less common. Very specific items and very specific things. Sounds good. Now, while we're doing that, I'm just going to grab a couple things. Anything else stick out with you guys? When I'm saying the National, I'm also talking about we've had... See, Bobby's getting calls about people in the National. I like it. What I'm referring to mainly is that with all the videos and stuff that came out, well, tell him we'll accept the sponsorship, but he's got to give us some of those, shiny matte. We need a couple of those. Here we go. So Golden posted a Griffey PSA 10 commenting the pop of the card and what percentage of all graded PSA cards it was. Did some quick math. How many graded cards there are now? Yep, Prism parallel error, just a few. Yeah. That's like a half ring? What is that? Mostly sales between dealers. Okay. They were either selling or buying or selling. Most didn't want to trade, it seemed. Okay. Interesting. Well, you did all right, though. I did see from your Instagram, Brad, you were able to find some Merino stuff and some Dolphin stuff. So you did all right, I think. The bling era. Nice.
Yeah.
Whatever number PSA slab they had on January 1st, 2017. Any slabs after that are junk slabs. Nice ball. Nice. So that means you got to get your own stickers, Dave. We got to get some Amish Dave Archer stickers. You should get a disembodied head that's highly original. Do that. With the beard. The guy's got to be a full cutout, including the beard.
Small body and the big head kind of thing. Like caricature kind of. Yeah.
So he's saying here, either 27 or 37 million, can't remember offhand. Are you meaning just PSA though, or are you meaning PSA and the other third-party grade? Because PSA has already bragged about how many slabs they've graded not that long ago. And yes, they've added more, but they can only add so many at a time. They will add millions more over the next year or so, especially with the backlog. But it's one of those things where I think maybe 2 years ago, they were at 7.5 million for PSA. So I don't think they would have jumped that far.
Yeah, that's
like if they could get 20 million in 2 or 3 years, then they wouldn't have a backlog right now.
I think we run out of plastic.
Pretty much. Stick auto era sticker. Okay, here we go. Not many cameras, lots of kids. Okay. Didn't pay sticker on vintage. Good. Prices are still high. Okay. That's good to know.
I concur that with the vintage or the hockey. So
90s on
what
card
vintage though? I don't know.
Terrible auto era. Nice. Just PSA. Yeah. Yeah, that number seems more plausible to me. 17 feels a little closer because they were approaching 10 million a couple of years ago. That feels like it's more possible. That might be a little closer. I could accept that number. Put it in your Supreme case or your Little House on the Prairie lunchbox. Dave, that sounds to me like what you should be doing at the next show. I want to see a Little House on the Prairie lunchbox, Dave. You should put all your cards in it. Love it.
Got a Holly Hobby one.
Yep. So good evening, Josh. Here you go. I'm sending Dave a Pelican case with my sticker on it. As you should. Yes.
Yeah. Weren't they doing that? Weren't they, stickering up their Pelican cases or some of the cases?
Nice. Okay, so here we go. Mike, baseball collector. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Tons of deals for him. Yep. I did catch some of his vlogs, so he was definitely able to do some damage. He was able to find some cards for sure. Like I said, it felt like people, yes, there were high prices. Yes, there were some cards that were out of whack. It did feel like, though, that a number of people, if you were willing to walk the floor, it did feel like folks were able to find stuff, which is good. And some folks were willing to negotiate, which is good. So I think that's a good thing. And it seemed like most people were pretty satisfied. Andy, she blind manufacturers didn't buy anything, but that's mostly by choice. It became a running gag. I did catch a vlog at the end where he almost bought something. It almost happened. Didn't quite happen.
That happens.
Yeah, I know there's a 7 in there. There you go. Nice. That's fair enough. I get you. Quickly, man, the comments are coming quick now. All right, hold on. Let me get caught up. So Chris here, we need a Because I'm Carlos sticker. That might be plausible. I got it. Well, the logo can fit on a sticker. That's easy enough. I can probably manage that. There's some stuff where I've looked at it and I'm like, that would cost way too much, and I'm not shipping that to anybody. Absolutely not. A sticker, we can probably swing that. I'll look into it. 89 Upper Deck Griffey is the most graded sports card in history. PSA having graded 83,000. Yeah, for sure. That was a huge card. This card makes up 0.27 of PSA's entire population. I like math, but I'm not doing that much math on it.
No.
So there you go. Rick says, the hobby is definitely not dead. So part of the reason I left the audio out is while Eric was walking around, he was basically saying, the hobby's not dead. The hobby's not dead. It's like, Eric, we get it. We get it. We get it. Like I said, I appreciate he did the video, but he was literally walking around just saying, it's like, but the hobby's dead. He likes to chant it into the ground a little bit.
But, in a social aspect, I think the hobby's alive and well. Look at that. Everybody had some fun meeting people.
I don't think the Nationals said it officially. I'm pretty sure they broke the record, like comfortably.
Yep.
Because it was Anaheim, and I think that was 100,000. I'm pretty sure they comfortably broke that.
Yeah, I think it would have been broken if they had a show last year too. I think
Probably,
it would have
I agree
been twice as much. Not twice as much, but probably another third amount of people would come. I think a third have lessened that didn't show. Well, Andy had reasons not to go, but he still did go, or did he? We don't even know. Right. We'll find out. We'll figure it out in his next video blog. So
exactly. So here you go. So also, I forgot the rest of it here. It's never seen so many kids. Huge crowd on Wednesday. Never seen that in past years. That was the other thing. Some folks were very surprised that the first couple of days, which are usually quieter, were definitely much stronger. Yeah,
still in COVID times too, right? So a lot of people had time off. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident they did break it. I wouldn't be surprised if the national folks though come out with the numbers. I would very much be. I would be comfortable that they would probably do it.
Just to brag, sure.
Oh, absolutely. If it's a record-breaking one, you're going to say it. Absolutely, 100%.
We're in the world of record-breaking everything, so why not?
Yeah.
Do the math, Carlos.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about that 1 in 367, but here's the thing. Don't forget, PSA has also released recently that of their big backlog right now, a lot of it is modern basketball. So I think that ratio has probably been skewed a little bit. I don't think that's the right number anymore. Again, we'd have to see. PSA would be the real answer to that question. Also, you can check the Pop Report. Like the Pop Report gives you a little bit of a sense of how the sports are divided, but basketball has gotten a huge surge. Ultra modern basketball especially.
So I would anticipate. I'll finish the questions there.
Yeah. So just Mike says had to look harder for them than previous years. I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, this is the 1 in 367 cards. I get what you're saying, but I think that number is probably not right anymore, especially with all the ultra modern basketball. Just in my opinion, there should be less cameras than I expected, which is a pleasant surprise. Where we might get an avalanche of content. We'll have to see. But I think from what I saw in the vlogs, it felt like, now mind you, it's also a really big space, right? So even if you've got a lot of cameras, if they're spaced out throughout the floor, it doesn't feel as overbearing as it might in a smaller show.
Sure.
So that's part of it. We got to bear that in mind too. Thing I found funny, I thought it was busier Thursday and Friday than a Saturday. That came up a little bit, yeah. And Rick agrees with that.
Well, so maybe people came early.
Yeah, so maybe some people couldn't stay over the weekend and maybe decided to go, let's hit up the show early, and then by Saturday we're already gone. That's just a theory I threw out there. But I think that's fair. I think it was very interesting. It was fun watching it through the lens and the eyes of a bunch of the showgoers and getting their different perspectives on it. Again, that's never going to be the complete picture, but it was a lot of fun to look at and watch and be able to kind of get a sense of it. And finding obviously the fun stuff in, like I said, when I got that little footage of Daps Man walking around, again, we wouldn't have even thought to look for that prior. And here it is. No. Here at the show now, I get updates on Daps' whereabouts.
Yeah. I wonder what the The expo is going to be it's going to be 4 days. It's going to be in another building. The other building beside the hangar. They're not having it in the hangar, and it's 4 days, so it's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. So here's what's interesting. So remember when I said earlier that we're getting everything through a prism? So let me read this again. So thing I found funny. I thought it was busier on Thursday and Friday than Saturday. Agree, Brad. Saturday was the busiest day by a mile. Though it did seem Friday was the slowest. And Friday, from what I understand, was like a record day. Same show. Two completely divergent perspectives. Could not be more divergent. Literally exact polar opposites.
Yep.
So, and I'm not there. I can't say I can't answer this one. Gentlemen, fight. I don't know what to tell you. I got nothing. All I can do is take you all at your collective word. We can take a poll, I guess. But now, mind you, it also depends on what time you're going, right?
I think most people go for the day.
Yeah, no, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah, they hang out, have some lunch, talk some stuff with guys, go back out on the floor. Because that's a lot of floor space to cover, as I've seen.
Yeah. Well, the other thing also is that shows, it doesn't matter what size show it is. The concept stays the same. Crowds come in waves. Early in the day, you'll start off, it ramps up, it hits a crescendo, it hits whatever the peak time is going to be for that show. There's always a peak time. And then it slows down a little bit. And sometimes there's a second wave a little bit later. Some folks that are trying to be like, yeah, I'm not the early morning crowd. I want to come in the afternoon for a couple of hours and, just walk a little bit and then leave. And then you're going to have those rotating folks.
Anybody have the hours quickly of what it closes, when it opens and closes? I think it opens at 10. Or is it 9? Sorry, 9.
Well, don't forget, you've also got the VIPs and stuff that can get there like half an hour early.
It doesn't. Yeah, I'm just looking for regular.
You're talking about general admission
gate.
now. You're talking about general admission. Okay.
General gate in and out.
Yeah.
I just like to compare it to the expo, so just to see.
I think to be honest, I think the expo is going to be interesting from the Canadian perspective because we're going to have a microcosm of that too.
Yes.
I think if it plays out, we're going to see exactly what it is here. So here we go. So Lowell says here, 10 to 6, general admission. VIPs get earlier admission. Wednesday was 4 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, so almost just like our expo. Well, we go longer than 8 on the first day.
Yeah, I think it goes till 10. It goes to 10 on the first day.
No, it's 9 now.
Is it 9 now?
I think it's 9. I think he opened it earlier and backed it down a bit. Because 10 o'clock it was a ghost town, It's,
like, honestly, I don't want to be at any card show floor at 10 p.m. Why?
Unless it opened at 9 p.m.
Basically, yes. Yeah. That always used to be like the last show we did, the 2019 one, the fall one. I got to the hotel, checked in, put everything aside and everything. I probably had like 90 minutes or 2 hours if I really wanted to go. But I was like, nah. I literally just pinged the guys that I know. I go, hey guys, how's it going? He goes, oh, it's going good, Carlos. Are you coming by? It's like, hey, I'll meet you for dinner. Where are you going?
Yeah.
They told me where it was. I met him up, and then we hung out. So the first day, I actually didn't even hit the floor. It was on the second day where I actually went in. But I was in no hurry. I was there to enjoy myself. So it's just like I didn't need to be there right at door opening when everybody's lined up. It's like I walked in.
You don't want to be there at that time anyway.
Yeah, it's like I walked in when I could casually walk in, and I had a VIP pass. Like I could have played that.
Oh,
game.
you could have went in.
I could have, but I'm like, yeah, but that required me to get up in the morning, Bobby. I waltzed in on the second day at the crack of noon. No, thank you. I had my brunch.
It opens late for me. Oh my gosh.
It's like I care not of this morning. It is a fictional construct, not a real thing.
I told Steve Menz, who runs the show, I said, Steve, why are we starting at 10 o'clock? Is this not sort of a business? Like it's Saturday morning. Like a lot of people, if it opens at 10 and a guy has a wife and 2 kids and the kids are younger and what have you, and you want to go out somewhere, it leaves them only in an hour. If you open up at like, I think 8, but let's say 9, just to be, at least gives them an hour and a half or 2 hours to get through the show, and they can still make it back for lunch and take the kids out doing something else or whatever, because some guys I know have to sneak out and sneak back, I'm just going to Canadian Tire to get, okay.
So I think, now I will say though, the guys that were eager, because I caught that a lot in the vlogs too. It's like the guys that were eager, it's like they could verify comfortable shoes. Because everybody's breaking down because they're walking miles and miles and miles on a hard, unforgiving show floor. Like it's understandable. Like you get it.
As much as we joke about it, it's true. If you have a mat at your booth, it's good to have.
It becomes a cliche, but it is a cliche for a reason. Like it's a cliche. It's like it's a cliche for an actual reason. We make fun of it. It's fun to make fun of, but it's real. It's real.
And it doesn't matter how comfortable your shoes are. You can wear those ones from the 70s with that big rubber. No, it doesn't help.
What you need is a scooter, like a Popemobile. Just
Oh
roll
my
around. Like,
gosh.
like don't actually walk the whole way. Like, no, just roll around.
I like that idea.
Somebody will probably have to do that at some point. So there you go. I bet all the good supplies sold to the VIPs early. That's possible. But here's the
Yes.
thing, though. Like, in all seriousness, if you're a VIP, legitimately, and you're there early, and you can get to the supply thing, and you know you're going to need some, you could buy a bunch. Why wouldn't you?
Early bird catches the worm.
Yeah.
And
At that point, that's your advantage, right? That's your edge. You can get there early.
I'm always there at door opening. When those guys open the door, I'm one of the first people in line. Drop my stuff off, start walking around and looking at people's stuff because I want to see what nobody else gets
Okay,
to
but
see.
in the last show, so the one we did in fall, so this was fall 2019 was the last one we had here.
Oh my God,
What
it was
time
so
did you
long
get
ago.
to the door? In order to be at the front of the line, because the line goes for a little bit before they open it. What time did you get to the front
I have
door?
a dealer's pass.
Okay, so what time did the dealers
8
get to
o'clock.
go in? Okay, okay,
Yeah. So I'm there at 8.
okay, that's fair.
But then they don't open till 1 o'clock. I think it's noon now, but I mean, it used to be 1 o'clock. So that
Okay,
gave you enough time.
you're talking
And
the
then
Friday now.
I would be talking the Friday. Some people are
Okay,
allowed in on a Thursday. Actually, you can even come in earlier than that. If you have if you back up it to one of the docks, you can unload your stuff. Because we walk in and it's like all the guys who have the wax and the unopened, their tables are already set up. I'm going, how'd you guys get in here? You know, Jason Martins and a few other guys are set up. I'm going, hey, what? I thought this was open at anyways.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, so Dave's mentioning here that he hopes there'll be an expo in November. It still looks like it's a go. I know
Yeah,
that
it's a go.
Steph Menzie wants to, like, unless something catastrophic happens, it's his goal to make it physical. They want to have it they want to have the expo at the International Center the way it's been for years, and they actually want to have it because they don't want to go 2 full years without having one. That'd be really tough.
Because that's like 4.
It is four expos, yeah, because
Yeah.
none in 2020, and then the first one in 2021 was virtual. So
It's going to be in the other building though. That's the only issue. I don't like that building so
the other
much.
hall, yeah.
And it flips the design. So you know how you have a pattern, you know where everything is.
Yeah.
You don't. This, you know.
Well, didn't they change halls years ago? They had one hall
Yeah.
for a while, and then they flipped it until the most recent one, and they did the configuration again a couple of times.
Once
Yeah, so there's been some
they
adjustments to it over time, anyway.
there was the show. What was it? It was the International Food and Beverage Convention, and they said they had to move because they needed that booth or something. I don't the hangar. And the hangar's huge. Like it's like 10 hangars. You know, regular airplane kind of hangars. So we had to go to the other building, and everything was flipped around, and people couldn't find you, and it didn't feel right, you know. And it's kind of older. It's where they have the toy shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, exactly, because they have a bunch of convention halls. So I'll quickly get caught up in the comments
Yep.
here. A lot of good stuff got sold among vendors prior to show opening. Learned something
Yeah.
new. Carlos is not a morning person. Yes, I'm not. I will only get up in the morning professionally when I'm getting paid. I have to be in morning meetings, then I will be up in morning meetings. Otherwise, crack a noon for me if I have a choice in the matter. So Rick walked 7 miles on Friday. Yeah, that jived with a lot of kind of what I was hearing because it's like, yeah, there's so much room to cover, so many tables, so much area, and it's like, and if you're, oh hey, check out this thing at this dealer. Where are they? All the way over yonder. So you got to walk all the way down there. Okay. Oh, the other one is also over here, all the way
Do,
back.
do they have markers for aisle numbers or anything
They
like that?
did, but one of the things that I caught is that apparently they were inconsistent. They weren't as good as one would hope. Some of them were
Mm,
clear and some of them not so much. The expo is usually good for that. They've done a good job over the years at the ends. At
yeah.
least you can know which numbering it is, and you can kind of go
Yes,
up and down
where
and
it
follow.
starts. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you something. So you go. One dealer told me he did $5,000 in $1, $2, $3, $5 boxes before the show opened. I believe that. You can sell a lot of those quote unquote low price singles in stacks and make
I
some good
heard there
money.
wasn't many of those boxes there.
Well, there were tons from the vlogs I was watching. There were folks rifling through dollar bins everywhere.
Hmm.
Not everybody and their brother. Obviously, the new guys aren't going to have so much inventory, but the established dealers or the
Yeah,
card
true.
collector
Of course,
twos
yeah.
are going to have cases and cases, of course.
Sure.
Bring your George Costanza A-Volt scooter. Nice.
Ooh, there you go.
So expo at the same venue, yes, different area, so a different hall. Yeah, it's going to be the International Center, which is a bunch of halls. So they've used different halls over the years. They're going to go to a different one this time. I guess this means card shows in San Francisco. were a love-hate thing. I believe that. So I had heard that Tatis was hurt. I remember that. If he's out for the year, that's news to me. I have to look into that myself. That'll certainly hurt his value. Hashtag invest. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll quickly look it up. But let me keep going with the comments here. It's cool going to a show, but the Cow Palace reeks of animal. Yeah, okay. So we're talking about in California. Gotcha. Yep, people are gonna dump like some did with Acuna. Probably. I've always believed in Acuna more than Tatis or Soto. Believe in Vladdy Jr. too. Okay. Yeah, Tatis' problem is that the type. Fernando Tatis' problem is that he keeps hurting his shoulder, and he keeps hurting his shoulder in like standard baseball plays. He injured himself in a slide. It was an awkward slide, admittedly, but it was a slide. He hurt himself one of those times this year on a swing. And it's like, so basically you can't slide, you can't swing, and you can't play the field. Other than that, you're great. Or you'll hurt your shoulder. And it's like, not that's problematic. You kind of need to do that to play baseball. Yeah, invest. Oh no, that's right. Okay, so that's speculation on your part. I got it. Will be out for the year if he requires surgery. Yes. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't done it because he's hurt himself in these seemingly harmless plays. It hasn't been like, oh, a collision or something crazy. It's like he slid. It's a baseball play. It's a slide. He slides,
Yeah.
arms first, but it's like you know what? Maybe slide feet first then. Maybe just leave your shoulder alone. That's all I can say to you. Like, stay away from your shoulder and wrap it in bubble wrap. I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know how to protect you. Yeah, so he also plays for the Padres, so there's that. Yeah, fair enough. Here we go. Cards for everyone, a plenty of 50-cent and dollar boxes. Yeah, that was the impression I got because I know Ed was reporting back that he had some fun with the dollar boxes. So guys seemingly were able to have some fun with. And one of the other thing is those different vlogs you talked about where they've got challenges. A lot of times they would go to like the inexpensive, like, oh, the $5, $1 boxes, and there seem to be plenty of them for people to run to try to win these challenges. So.
Interesting.
Which is smart business. Why wouldn't you? Like if you've got tons of good stuff and the stuff that people pick through, they can spend a ton of time at your table. It brings traffic to your table. It keeps people engaged.
Of course.
You can still sell more expensive stuff to other people in your showcase and stuff. So it doesn't hurt.
I used to have this this round big tin that I had full of little vintage. When I first brought that out, I had to refill it 3 times in the show. It was just amazing, and everything's $5, $10 maybe, 5 or 10. It was just empty, that tin. That was amazing. Those days are gone. But
yeah,
it was fun.
Soggy Guy says, have you seen how hard he swings? I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, no, that's fair. He does kind of swing out of his shoes a little bit. There have been a lot of injuries, that's true. Especially like the young name guys, which is a bit of a shame because when you're trying to promote the game, having the Acuñas and the Tatises around because they're young, exciting players is a good thing. And unfortunately they've been getting hurt a lot, so it's been taking them out of it, and they're not around, which is unfortunate. Let me pose a quick question to you guys. Obviously, some of you did attend the National, so this doesn't necessarily exclude you, but maybe it would make sense for you. But maybe for those of us that didn't, have you guys did any of you guys find any deals or anything on eBay or anything buying any cards during the time of the National? I was actually able to pick up some stuff, to be perfectly blunt. I found some stuff where I was able to do some deals with some dealers, and I had no issue buying stuff like normal. But again, I'm buying very specific stuff, so maybe it's not the same for everybody. So I'd be curious if any of you guys had any luck finding any deals or anything on eBay or elsewhere, ComC, MySlabs, whatever your platform of choice is. Just throwing it out there as a question. So I read earlier this year that when he hurt it swinging, it was an existing known injury. They keep avoiding surgery. Yes, that sounds familiar to me. I'd heard something like that as well. That's why I say, like, I feel like it's going to be a recurring problem for him. He'll do something and then re-aggravate the same shoulder over and over again. Like, this could be a long-term problem for him, which is problematic for a young guy where it's like, he's never played a complete season, Bobby, in his career, in his young career. Now, in the time he has played, he's been spectacular. He's been really prolific. So it's one of those things like you'll see these flashes of brilliance, but then he gets hurt again. Flashes of brilliance. Then he gets hurt again.
Sort of the Bobby Orr syndrome as he got into 71, 72.
Yeah, but at least Bobby Orr had that run just before that, where at least he was able to play a little bit.
Yeah,
he did complete some seasons.
Yeah,
he did complete some seasons. Tatis has yet to complete a season.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, so it's problematic when you're seeing the talent. Like, you can see the talent is there, but it's like, can you stay on the field long enough?
Yeah,
that's a question. Yeah, so Dave was able to buy some cards on eBay. Hashtag good deals only. Hashtag making moves.
Yeah, I know when I go to the expo and I come back after the weekend, I don't really search while I'm at the show, and you miss some great deals. There's a lot of unique things come up, or some great buy it nows that you miss out on. You just geez, I was at the expo. I did fine. I don't really care, but the people who aren't going, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, that's the reason I posed the question though, because we all collect different stuff. That's
Sure.
why I didn't want to just focus on. I usually do my thing, and my thing is pretty consistent most year round, almost regardless of what's going on. But everybody's got different stuff, right?
Mhm.
So you go. I'm able to buy cards on eBay when I find stuff I actually want. There you go. No, that's fair. I get that. But that's the reason why I posed the question. Everybody collects different stuff. For some people, it's. I will say this: where the national might be good, even though you have to work a little bit harder. Mike mentioned it. Even though you have to work a little bit harder, I would say it was probably easier to find quality vintage at the national, even though you have to work for it a bit, than it would have been than it's been on eBay for quite some time. Like for some of if you're building certain sets and stuff, like a lot of this stuff's been picked through, and some of those dealers are not going online. And if they're not going online, that inventory is not available to you. So it would help you build your set, but it's not available, right?
Yeah, and bulky stuff doesn't generally sell. So I think when the next expo comes up, I think a lot of things will be around for purchase that are a little bit bigger.
That's fair.
Frame stuff, whatever.
Yeah. They're Brad here. You would have loved it, Dave. I shouted good deeds only at your boy. He didn't seem to love it. But this is all well and good, Brad. But I need to know more about our hero, Mojo Sports. Like he's given us so much wonderful content, so much glorious content. Like we need more on Mojo Sports, Brad. Who cares about these other people? Come on, focus, Brad. Focus, buddy. We'll be curious what prices do post national, whether there'll be any burnout, etc. I honestly, based on what I have seen and heard from some folks, I doubt it. I think it's going to be beat goes on because the folks that weren't there are going to have some FOMO, so they're going to buy some stuff, and the folks that were there, sure, they'll slow down for like a minute, then they'll go back to the ridiculousness. Like it's not going to go,
Mhm.
you know. Oh, here we go. He hit me up again. I don't think he used the footage though.
Oh.
Disgraceful. After all the wonderful things we had, he made a young man's day, a young collector's, joy. It's okay though. At least we'll have the moment, Brad. We'll all have that moment. Here you go. He asked about investing in quarterbacks like Tua. Hashtag investing, Brad. Hashtag investing. That's important. Did you tell him anything? Did you give him a scouting report? Are you just out of curiosity? Actually, since we're having some fun here, are you back home, Brad, or are you still kind of en route traveling? I know Rick was kind of waiting to head out. Are you still around, or are you back? Are you back at your place? You have to let me know. I search eBay now in my mailbox to save searches. Yeah, that's fair. Although I do find there's sometimes a delayed reaction in them because sometimes I'll catch stuff. Sometimes I'll catch stuff, and then I'll get an email like 2 days later, and I'll be like, I already saw it. Well, thanks, save searches. Thanks for the email. Thanks for the notification.
I used to get my save searches at about 7 o'clock in the morning. Now it's been 9 or 10 for the last year and a half. I told them to fix it. They did fix it for like a week, and then it kind of went right back to it. And I went, well, yeah, what do we do?
Right. Okay, I got you. So, Brad, no pressure, but I'm just curious. Do you want to come on for a couple minutes and just chat about kind of what since you were there, like you're one of the folks that are there, obviously Rick as well, but he's in the middle of traveling. I'm just curious. I can shoot you a quick link on Facebook if you like, but you just have to let me know. No pressure. Don't worry about it if you're tired or whatever. I'm not going to put that on you. But if you're willing to come on for a couple of minutes, I'd be happy to hear from you directly. So yeah, so Rick basically covers that angle. It's like no more money off eBay for at least a week. That's fair. I get it. So for a week, the economy will dip. So guys, buy the dip. You get a week.
That's right. You
7 days. 7 days. That's what you get.
I heard people had to refill
Sounds
their
good.
pockets.
I'll send you a link. Go ahead, Bobby. I'm grabbing a link for Brad.
No, I heard that quite a few people say that they have to refill their pockets.
Oh, for sure. Like, here's the thing, though. That makes sense. Like, I'm not going to have any issue with that. That's the only reason I posed the question. Because some folks were going there, they're gun-ho about buying stuff, right? And if you spend all your money, well, then obviously you got to slow down. Like, right now, occasionally I'll get somebody send me a lot of cool stuff, like a lot of links, some cool stuff and whatever. Honestly, I've done such a good job buying and finding stuff recently that I'm like, as lazy as I am, I finally got around to sending eBay my my information so I could get my freaking selling account reopened under the because I've been lazy about it, but it was simple enough. But I was like, I just hadn't got it. I was like, whatever, I'll get to it later. Finally, I was like, I should probably sell some stuff. I've got some stuff that's very sellable. That's perfectly. I don't need to sell it, but it's like it'd be good to replenish the accounts and put some of it back and let's put ourselves. But I've got quote unquote assets that I can move on that I don't need around here. And if I can do that, replenish the funds, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So like, why not? But I was like, all right, let me get on it. So I said, all right, eBay, fine. You win. Here's your information. Please get my thing reinstated so I can sell some stuff and get this out of here. Lots of PayPal. Got you, Rick. Sounds fair. Here we go. Safe searches and emails from eBay have been wonky the last week. Sorry you missed it. Email auction. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. People need some time to sign up for another new credit card. Yeah, absolutely. Or a line of credit. Absolutely. Mr. Brad, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well.
This is your first time here, so welcome.
Oh yeah, first time on the channel. I'm honored.
It's not quite as prestigious as Dave and Steve's whatever that is, but it's something.
So a couple observations that we all thought would definitely happen. Number one was the supplies thing. I found supplies on Saturday, like good stuff.
On Saturday, okay. And when you're saying supplies, what are we talking specifically? Yeah,
so like the 25 count, 35 point top loaders, those were still there. Both BCW and Ultra Pro was set up. They both had them. Mags, if you wanted those, they had.
You didn't have to go to any of those alternate ones like Beckett Shield or any of that other stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have to go to any of that.
Okay.
So that stuff was there. And it was not $10 a pack.
Buddy, I've seen this. Like my local card shops are basically out. They're like at the Beckett Shield. Here's the thing: I haven't tried it yet. It seems fine. I'm sure it's fine, but it just made me laugh. I was like, "This is what you're down to?" Okay,
right. Yeah, and you saw some of the crappy stuff. But yeah, the good stuff was there, and it was not like $10 a pack. The small ones were $5, and then $2 each as you go up, right?
Okay, sounds good.
$2 more. The smell was not bad.
Really? They found the Febreze. They dropped it. But I heard about this humidity, this ridiculous humidity. So I'm actually double shocked.
Yes, like Wednesday it was bad.
Okay.
Wednesday, like you would sweat in there. Mm-hmm. But I still did not pick up this heavy stench I thought I would have.
So wait, just so we're clear about it, help me out with this. This is important.
Yeah.
This is very important. What you're saying to me, though, is it means, yes, it was warm, but you're saying that it's not so warm that, say, an individual who proclaimed that they were going to suit up is being a bit of a pansy by not wearing their suit.
I would say definitely a little bit of a pansy.
We won't say who that is, Edward. Yeah. The point is, no one is above mockery on this channel, Brad. If you want to have some fun, go back to the Friday one.
That's the thing.
You were there.
He did pick the wrong day to do it.
Okay, but he still had the jacket the other day.
Was the worst.
Yeah, but he still had the jacket. He could have pulled it a different day.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was being a pansy.
Okay, I got you. I got
you. Sure. I will say, like, the VIP thing is worth it, and it's not even to get into the show early.
Okay.
Because at 9:30, they are lined up anyways just to come in. Mm-hmm. So, like me, I would come in, like, every day at, like, 10:30, and luckily I got a VIP pass from a guy I knew there for free, and I would just walk in 10:30 while everyone else is in this long line, and it's just worth it not having to – because you literally have to, like, walk a mile because it's snake-style lines. You literally end up walking a mile to get into the show.
Okay, I believe that. Okay, that
because I had to do that Wednesday before I got the VIP, and you just walk, snake style, and it literally is like a mile before it seems like when you get in the show.
Okay.
So it was nuts.
Well, you had to have some kind of a quote unquote crowd control because imagine like a bunch of people just storming like a gate, and it's like, no, we're not doing that. That's
that'd be crazy, man.
I know someone that got the show right at 10. Yeah. I came in at like 10:35. We were going in at the same time. Wow. That's how different it is. And VIP. Now the thing also, security, they didn't check one bag. Anybody walking in there, not one bag was checked all week.
I heard there wasn't a very heavy presence for that.
Yeah, there was nobody checked one. That shocked me. Now it's not the bad area of that. It's not really Chicago.
There's a lot of people there too. So.
Right. But yeah, I'm like, so theoretically I could have brought 20 guns in there and no one would have known.
Aim for AC takes on a new meaning, Brad.
Yeah,
aim for AC takes on a new meaning.
Because
Eric, come up with a new tagline. Abort. This is a bad tagline now.
Like I knew there wouldn't be like an airport scanning system,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
But I thought it would be like at least a casual, like, hey, show me what's in the big part of your bag, you know, or whatever, you know. There was nothing.
Okay.
So in it.
Okay.
Security guy goes, I'm not doing
because they
politics.
didn't have the presence to be able to do it.
Okay.
So they just said, well, if it happens, it happens, I guess. But there was police there. You could tell the undercover ones, though. They were not undercover.
Okay.
You could tell. They were pretty obvious, I thought. Because literally some of them would have their badge on their pocket. And I'm just like, okay.
I
thought you were supposed to be
I understand
undercover.
the idea, but with that many people,
Yeah.
would being undercover really be that beneficial?
No,
Like,
no.
it's one of those things like you'd almost be better off with uniformed police officers walking around. Like, look, we're going to make this obvious.
Right. right.
Please don't do something stupid. Like,
Right.
could you not?
And why there was some theft at the show for sure.
Oh, for sure.
That's going to be every show. It's just magnified because stuff costs more now. You know,
Well,
so
I saw-
instead of stealing 10,000, you're stealing 50,000. You know?
I believe I saw that there was a social media post where somebody got dragged off in cuffs. They tried to pull a stunt. They did something and then they got dragged off.
My funniest one is I heard a guy stealing from the $1 boxes.
No.
That was my favorite one.
Okay. Go
So-
on.
That I guess
It's
what
probably
he
theft
did-
under, so it's not so bad, right?
What
Yeah.
were they taking? Like, try base cards or, try
I
good
don't know
cards,
the individual ones. He was
junk.
But I guess he would pick off some to the side. This is what I hear he was doing. I didn't witness
okay.
this, so now
Sure.
mind you, this secondhand. But like normal, you pick off to the side, and then he would bring his book bag up to hide what he's doing, and then all of a sudden he'd bring it down. Somebody has a video of it, and then the stuff was gone. And then eventually someone told
Clued in.
the right because there's just so many people who can't have a phone. Everybody's got a phone now.
Yeah.
And eventually, I guess they catch this guy after like 2 hours because he's at this table for like 2 hours because all this guy sells is, 25 cent or 50 cent or dollars. And the whole book bag was just full, and it's all non-top loaded stuff. This book bag is full. And I'm like, now this is the greatest story so far.
I was going to say, though, like, I can understand it, but at the same time, it's like, is that really worth it? Like,
No.
you can find, here's the thing about the dollar boxes at the National. There are some dealers who understand that, hey, these dollar boxes are good for drawing in people. If they can find the odd decent thing in there, that's a good thing. It's good for business. It means people will be more encouraged to come by and like, hey, sort through the box. You don't want to just put garbage in there. Like, no, leave them something good from time to time. It doesn't have to be $1,000 cards. It can be like, put a $20 card in there, slip a couple of decent cards in there. For those that are willing to do the work, reward them. And then in turn, they bring more business to you. That's a good thing. But it's like, really, other than that, like, you're going to steal the $1 box?
Right.
Like, that's what you're going to rob? Really?
So I found that kind of funny now. And also, people wonder, like, how many days you go to the show? You heard that a lot. I know I heard that a lot. You have to go 2 days if you want to see it.
Okay.
There is no seeing it in a day. It's not plausible if you're actually looking at the tables. Now you could walk it, obviously. But if you're actually looking at the tables, you do have to go 2 days.
Yeah.
The other thing they changed, I guess, is in the group break pavilion.
Yes.
They had the group breaks, but in front of it, whole extra set of tables. And that's where, honestly, a lot of the modern great stuff was.
Okay.
Like, not even just ultra modern, but like that.
So credit to
2005
the Amish one for sending
Right.
over the link to the Instagram.
Yeah.
Apparently,
So this might be it. I haven't actually even seen the video, but I just heard people tell me.
while you're explaining, I'll let it play. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Keep going, Brad.
So, yeah, they put, I guess, extra tables up there because we heard about the red carpet section that they opened up. Well, now they opened up that, too, right in front of the Breakers Pavilion.
Right.
And you could tell it was obviously the newer dealers, but a lot of the heat was up there, if you ask me. Like, the modern, not even ultra modern, but like the crazy patch autos of like Larry Bird or, that exquisite stuff and that kind of thing.
For sure.
A lot
The
of
high end stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the high end stuff, but not the stuff you see every day.
Okay.
That's what I liked about it. It wasn't just like the Luca Prism, or the Mahomes Prism, It was actually like stuff you didn't see every day. So I found that because I thought I looked at the whole show. It was about 4:00 Thursday. It was the second day there. And then I would walk up there and I was like, oh, I'll check out, see what breakers are there, just a curiosity. And then I noticed there was like a whole new showroom floor. So.
No, I got you. And I think, but I think that's what made it interesting. Obviously, none of us knew definitively what we were going to expect. And I think this was your first national. So let me pose the question to you. You've been there now. You got to see the thing, right? Was it exactly what you expected? Was it mostly what you expected? Was it completely distant from what you would have thought? Was it completely off? What
it was honestly exactly what I expected.
Okay.
It really was. And now I think it almost helped me, the fact I had nothing to go off of, because this was my normal.
Okay.
So it was packed, but I wasn't like annoyed by it.
Okay.
Like, yeah, sometimes you had to wait to see a case. There was or you had to kind of like look under like someone's arm, like, is there anything in there that I would like, But yeah, it didn't annoy me. And everyone says it's like overwhelming. And I guess it depends on your personality if it's overwhelming. Like I found once I walked the first day, I like had a good grasp of where everything was. Because you can't go by the booth number. I think you guys were talking about that.
Yeah, I had heard that some people mentioned that it was either really hard to see or it just wasn't very helpful. It just really didn't work very well.
Those were worthless. So basically, you had to look for checkpoints. Oh, you can see the Fanatic sign where I'm at. Like if I text someone a card that somebody wanted, I'd be like, yeah, you'll see the Fanatic sign in your eyesight right across from it. Or, something like that, 2 tables away from the Topps booth. Stuff like that. You had to do it like that. If you just said table 486, they were like, okay, because there's literally a booth number like 1 every 10 tables.
Okay, I got you.
And they don't go in the order you think they would go in. It isn't like 86, 87, 88. That ain't how they do it.
Okay.
So you can't really go by that. But so yeah, it was what I expected, honestly.
All right, that sounds good. So I'll let it keep playing. Just let's see how much this got.
So it's the guy.
It's only like halfway through the video.
It's the guy in blue, is it?
Yeah, the guy in blue in the middle. The police officers are around him, so they're kind of monitor. They're kind of like, you stay there, you empty out.
Not a young guy.
No.
Nice sneakers.
So quickly while we're doing this, I'll grab a couple comments here. So RD Card says, "Hey guys, so good evening," and it says, "Brad!" exclamation moment. So RD Cards apparently knows you, or at least is familiar with it. So Rick here says, my best one is a 10-year-old girl pulling out of her pocket a PSA 5 52 mantle and asking the dealer if he wants to see it. Dad was the next table. What? That's pretty standard operating procedure. I don't know what you're talking about. Pretty normal, standard.
Yeah, that was the thing I was shocked by. Like everybody assumes most of these teenagers, daddy gave them the money, right?
Right.
These kids know what they're doing, man. They're hustling for the. Now they may have gotten started.
Yeah.
Like here's a couple grand and they turned it into 20,000 in card.
Yeah.
But they hustle, man. I'll give it to. They do it from 10 a.m. to the lobbies at 1 a.m. Man.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that look, it's fun to make fun of. Okay, it's great fun, and we had fun. Like I said, we had fun on Friday with your picture with Mojo.
Oh yeah.
Said, oh, look at this young man getting his because we're around the same age, Brad, but I'm a couple of years older than you are. You're actually younger than my younger brother. So that's why I can have some fun. See this young man having a good time, enjoying himself. So it's enjoyable for me. But the thing was that at the same time though, making fun of it is fun. I get it. But it's like, I know for a fact that if you're young in the sense that you have nothing else to worry about, you're just doing your thing. If you're willing to grind it out and take $100 card and sell it for 120 and do this again and again and again and again, eventually you will develop a decent bankroll and suddenly you'll have a lot of cash. And of course, everyone's going to assume you got it gifted. It's like, yes, it would be a shortcut, but it is possible because occasionally your $100 card actually turns out to be a $1,000 card, or maybe you graded it and it worked out. Like, this is possible. It takes a lot of work, but we don't give them any credit. We just assume some of it is because we don't want to believe, and some of it is jealousy because it's like, oh, but I have to work so hard at my job to make these. I understand, but if you wanted to do this all day long, well, then you could do it too, but it would also take all day long. It's a lot of work to make very little at first. Eventually it snowballs, the deals can get bigger, but you got to put in the time and the work. So good evening, Michael.
Kids don't have to make a lot of money. They make a little money for them. They're good.
Yeah, and for them, they don't have to worry about expenses. So, like, they don't have the fear. the fear isn't there. What happens when people get adults? And good evening, Michael. Meeting Brad is one of the highlights of the show. So there you go, Brad. Another kudos to you. I'll take it off the screen so we don't block you, which is kudos. But all I was going to say was that sometimes we forget that as adults, we become more risk averse.
Right.
We're not willing to take. We're more scared of losing money than we are in making money. So like the people that have the fearlessness at any age sometimes can win just because they're willing to. It's like, yeah, it's a risk, but okay, if I lose, I'll start again. Like they don't have that fear factor built in from years of living. Oh, I made this mistake. And it set me back They don't have that baggage. They can be like, well, if I screw up, then I'll try again. And if I screw up again, I'll try again.
That's why I don't jump off the garage with the umbrella. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but they have the luxury of being able to. It's cards. It's cards. Like it isn't jumping off the garage with an umbrella. Like the worst that happens is like, well, you lost. You're gonna go back to working at the Taco Bell, make some money, and start again. Like it's not the end of the world. In most cases, like.
The best part of this video is just you can tell the cop as he's grabbing the cards, just sitting here like, really? Like he's probably thinking, oh, this guy's taking Brady's and stuff, right? Like, and he's just like, just putting them in a paper sack, like using for evidence, I guess. But
I think the dealer would be more surprised.
Oh,
get caught for this?
Like,
well, at that point, it's like, sir, do you have no shame? Do you have?
Obviously not.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So David should say it literally has all value box shit that he tries to grift.
Yep.
And of course we got to talk about the grift.
So this has to be the same story I heard. Yeah,
it is.
This has to be it.
Yeah, look at all those stacks. True story. Here you go. Everyone just follow what Dasman tells you, you'll be fine. Co-signed. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it's. But we knew there was going to be stuff like this. Now the dollar bin stuff, I like. This is just double sad. And as a grown man, it's like, really, you're stealing dollar cards. This is what you decided to do with your time at the show. I don't know, man. Like I don't know what to tell you at that stage. It's fascinating. I will say this card show, if nothing else, was a human study in getting a mass amount of people into a place, and very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, now it cleared out. There we go.
So let me pose this to you, Brad. So I think now we're most of the way through the video. Yeah, we're right at the end here. So I'll stop it. Let me pose this question to you, Brad, because of course you were involved also in a lot of the YouTube gatherings. I know you were in the Facebook collection video. Yeah, for sure. So that was part of that too. We only got a snippet of a couple of minutes. So you were in there for a little bit. How was that? How'd you find that? Have some fun?
Well, are you talking about the Card Collector 2 Jimmy's thing?
So let's go in. Let's do this.
Because I didn't do that one.
Let's start. I'm talking about the one where you were there. You were on video. We
okay.
Were there.
All right.
This is the one. This is the one where it was. A lot of folks were there. It was basically the one at the hotel where Baseball Collector was walking around with the video camera, Eric, those back pages there. Rick was there. There's actually a whole bunch of, if you know YouTube sports cards,
right.
There's a bunch of you guys, and I know you were there at least for a little bit as part of that. And I know it's come as go as you please, so nobody had to stick around the whole time. How'd you find that?
That is the best parts of the shows, to be honest with you.
For sure.
Because the show was so busy, unless you calculated like meet me here, you ran into, I don't know if Mike's still here, maybe half a dozen the whole show time you were there.
Yeah.
So
because it was so big, yeah, for sure.
Right. So it was great, and I made a conscious effort not to only meet the ones like you knew you were gonna like and hit it off with, but like I met Victor, the rookie card specialist, talked to him for like 20 minutes. Big Scott, who I never met before, like the guys I just started recently either finding because I want to get to know them a little bit. And that's what it's perfect for, is that kind of stuff. That's why I really enjoy it. Is, you get the ones you talk to all the time, which is nice, but I love also the fact that people that I really had no interaction with except for I watched some of their videos. Those are the people I really enjoyed catching up with. And
yeah, that's what I always say the show is about. I said that on Friday. It's just the camaraderie is great.
I will say no one surprised me.
Okay.
Like if I thought, hey, we're going to hit it off, we did.
So like Mojo was the hero we all expected, the great, wonderful.
Like I said, and I think I've said this before, of those guys who do that stuff, he is the most genuine one of all.
Yes.
Now,
Dave? Dave.
He is actually the best dude of all of them, and I can attest to that. Like I've actually known that guy for a while.
Now, we tease about it, but here's the thing. I part of the reason it's fun for me is that they get so mad. They have so much fun with the whole Schmied. It's like, guys, he's just a dude who sells cards at a card show.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to get. There should be nothing that is that personal on somebody you're just watching on a YouTube channel. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But it's like, no, let the dude walk around. And he seems to be very into just walking around chatting with a bunch of folks. Like literally goes out of his way to chat with a whole bunch of folks. Because you could chat with the folks you already know or spend like a bunch of time there. But it's like, all right, I'm going to show you the show. Walk with me. We'll go and chat. And I think when he talked to you, at least in the first time around, he knew your handle. Like
Yes.
Brad 8671.
Yeah,
he was able to at least cite it. It wasn't
Right.
like, hey, you. Not exactly the same, a little more effort there.
Right. So.
But were you able to give him some good tips on tour or what?
Oh yeah, because here's my theory on why he didn't use it.
Okay.
I have a theory of why he didn't use it.
Because it's such good advice that now he's buying things?
All right. No, because I told him, I was like, all right, you're going to spend $500 on a mid-tier tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, they have a very tough start of the schedule. So what's going to happen if he starts 2 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He's not going to throw 45 touchdowns in a year. He's not built like that. That's not what he does.
Yeah. I think
right. So he's not winning MVPs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now he can win games though. So I told him he's just like kind of like Baker Mayfield, where it's going to be based on team success pretty much only, because we're starving for a winner. All right. So I was like, unless you think he's going to win the Super Bowl in the next year or two, you're wasting your money. And that's what I said on the video.
Okay.
And I was like, and I like him. Like, I think he's a good quarterback, but I was telling him from an investment standpoint, it's stupid.
Okay.
And then I told people Herbert's at his high. I said, what are the Chargers known for the last 10 years? Underachieving. Mm-hmm. Why would that change now? Yeah.
See, the problem is you gave hashtag don't buy, hashtag not invested.
And that's my theory why he didn't use it.
Right.
So that's my theory.
Okay, no, I think that's a reasonable theory, because a lot of those channels do seem to kind of focus in on the positive side of things.
Yeah, because he kept trying to list names, because he listed Burrow, and I said, of the 3 guys, I was like, he might have a little more move to grow, but I didn't like giving a ringing endorsement on it. So that was my theory, because he kept trying to ask to get me to say, buy this guy, And I'm like, no, I'm just not going to do that.
We're looking for a clip, Brad. We're looking for an audio clip here, man.
So I don't. I didn't watch like the whole, because the only reason why I knew I was in the first one is because of you guys.
But we're good for Brad. We are here to help.
I assume I wasn't in the other one, being that I didn't.
No, as far I didn't catch it in the second one. No,
because it would have been like Fridays or whatever.
Look, the Mojo ones were such good. Like, we're such good for the material. Like,
yes.
Redemption Guy. He's the only one who actually talked to Redemption Guy. I was like, yes.
Right. Yep.
Who is now my hero with the crazy eyes and everything. So it's like, okay. Hey, you gotta enjoy it for what it is. You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's been working very hard on it the last few years.
I'm feeling a strong no, Brad. Like a real strong no. like a 9. Like any language you want. No. That's
he secretly has it in his liked videos and all that.
No, that's different. That's different. Dave has, if he didn't know that people would see it, like, you know how you on your YouTube channel, you got like your favorite channels that you can put on the side. It's like Mike Baseball Collector, Mojo Sports, Daps Man, Dap Sports. It's like 5 or 6 of them. It's like all the ones he hates. It's like his favorites. Watch time. It's like, it's all Dave. Mm-hmm. Why did my watch time go up? Oh, Dave found you. Like, doesn't he hate me? It's like, yeah, he hates watches you on loop and repeat over and over and over.
Oh,
it's like the Zapruder film. He knows every single frame in every single video. There's a reference for you guys. History major. So anyway, so Rick says here, Packer Jim S had a great video on Friday Night Trade Party. You could hear everybody yell "woo" as Ric Flair walked in the lobby. Okay, well, Ric Flair in the lobby. That'll work. Yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you, Rick. That's a good call. Do you have any grainy footage of Daps at any of the trade nights? Just curious. No, I did get that one video of Wild Daps man walking by that I was sent. I was sent that. That did not make YouTube, as far as I know. So that's a new one. So anyway, Carter C is also here. Good evening, Carter C. Thank you for popping in. Absolutely. Here we go. 15 years, not 10, Brad.
Well, I was being nice, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. I get you.
I mean, most of his viewers are probably under 20, so if I'd used more than 10 years, it really wouldn't have done any good. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But it's funny because a lot of those content creators that have, here's the thing, whether we like it or not, and I don't really worry about it because it's like, it doesn't matter. I understand it. I get it. Look, the overly positive guy who almost denies reality gets more views.
Yeah.
Nobody actually likes to be told, yeah, your baby's ugly, just, you know. Oh, and it's ugly because your genetics are bad and also you're ugly, just so we're clear. And your wife is also ugly. So just so you know. Nobody actually wants to hear that. It might be true, but it's like, no, actually, you don't want to hear that.
Right.
Yeah. It's not what people want to know. It's one of those things. Like as soon as you try to present that to them, it's like immediately that's where you get the look. And it's like, yeah. People not into that. That's why I had so much fun. Like earlier, I made fun of the Mr. Wonderful thing. I've had fun with him over time, but it's one of those things. I kept him around as long as he behaved. But he's like, dude, you've been watching this show long enough where you know what this is. Basically, if you annoy me, I'll pull the plug on you
or edit you out.
Yeah, like I'll make fun of you and then pull the plug on you, as I do.
Yeah, Brad probably was out looking up those names to buy actually after, you know, on your advice.
Absolutely.
Not on video, but
100%.
Just saying.
That was the thing. So
I just looked them up now. So.
See, the problem is as soon as you said that, Brad, like Mojo was looking at you and he was like, yeah, we're not using that, bro. Like, this is the comedic gift that keeps on giving. This is why it's like, I love this guy.
Because I'm sure you'll probably see it on there. When he wants to capture something, he gives the kid the wave, his cameraman. And that's what he did. He's like, all right. And he stopped me. I wasn't even turned towards him. He stopped me because I was wearing a Zach Thomas jersey that day. So easy to spot.
Right.
And yeah. He just turns me around. He goes, all right, Brad, what do you think of Tua this year? You know, he's like, what do you think about investing in Tua? And then that's what I went on. And,
did he lead with what do you think about investing in Tua?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure he already knew the answer to this though. Cause he's asked me on Instagram before.
Well, but here's the thing, Brad, let me push an angle on you. In one way, it's like, yeah, even if he doesn't use it in the video, it doesn't mean he doesn't want an answer.
Well,
yeah, maybe the answer's good for his purposes. It's like, okay, you know what? I'll get this answer from you. If you give me the answer that I'm not expecting, I'll use it. But if you give me the answer that I'm expecting, it just clarify and give me that additional. Okay, I'm making my notes.
That's a good point because he might have 42s, and now he's thinking, okay, maybe I should just sell them now. That's a good point.
This could work either way, Brad. Like this is what we call a win-win situation in the business. Like, you know what? If it's good content, we'll use the content.
But yeah, that was the when you wear your favorite team stuff, and I already knew I was going to get it because I also had some great conversations where people will bring up random players to me, which like nerd alert, right? Mm-hmm. But I got asked literally 100 times about investing in Tua, and I told everyone the exact same thing, and you could tell there's like a they want to hear, yeah, buy him up.
It's because he's not priced already. Like people are looking at the prices and going like, his price isn't already up here.
Right.
So they're saying like, can you give me something? Can you give me something that I can do where the price isn't already up there, where the price is down here, and maybe I can grab it while it's here, and then hopefully it goes to here.
Can we get it out of the dip, please?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like he had his moment, but he's like on a semi-permanent dip until further notice. He's on double secret probation until he proves something else.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way it is. Now I'll leave Dave comment on here. It's like it's a theory. It's a theory, Dave. I'm willing to leave that as a theory. That may be a factor. It may be a factor. Or not enough dancing, one way or the other. It could be a thing.
Victor did mention that.
Yeah, I will say though. Okay, since I like to balance out the mockery with the legitimate, one thing though that actually would help Dave's videos that would be, I'm not saying change what you do what you do, but do your thing. When he does the pickup videos, like legitimately the audio is shit. Like you can't hear him half the time. Like it's muffled. Like I have to crank it up sometimes. It's like, I know you're loud enough. Like why can't I hear you? Maybe you're covering the microphone or something. I don't know what the deal is, but it actually is a bit muffled. And it's like, I use my phone too when I'm recording pickup videos, and you can hear me fine because I'm just talking in the direction of the phone. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm not sure. It's the same format. I just put the cards in front of me. There's something to that, but that's actually a legitimate critique that could maybe be. You don't have to do any editing. Don't go crazy. Just whatever's going on with the microphone, fix it. I don't know what the deal is. Just an idea. Just throwing it out there. It might make it a little clearer. So you go. People don't want to hear in the hobby what they have to go through day-to-day life. We all know the hobby is rainbows and unicorns. That's fair. We'll get a bigger jug, Dave. Damn it. Come on. Do better, man. Not going to get to 1,000 subscribers in a jug. Or at least get a bigger jug. So there you go. So Loser previously has asked about this. Can't you clown on Ziggy Knows content? Yes, I can. Am I going to? No. No, it's like, here's the thing. The reason why I don't do it is because I've tried to avoid that on this channel. I'm not doing it. Can I do it? Yes, I can. If you ask me in private conversation what I think, yes, I can. On this channel, Ziggy's great. Check out his channel. Moving on.
Yeah, it's a little itsy bitsy innuendos that you do.
Yeah, but also like I'm not going to get into a thing with anybody. There's no point. I don't need it. I don't care. It's not worth my time.
This is about the hobby.
Whenever he's been here, I put his comments on here. If he's got a legitimate question, I read it. We talk about it. No problem. All good. Easy. If you're a nuisance, you become Mr. Wonderful. Poof. Like the other one, he died. It was very sad. And we move on. I have now gone through all the stages of grief, and it is now over.
Whew.
Yeah.
7 stages. Yeah.
Oh, I got through 7 stages real fast. Did you guys see that? I did it all in the course of this live stream. Denial didn't take very long. I did it, so denial wasn't very long.
You thought about it and it was over, yeah.
I thought about it was over, yeah.
Fleeting moment.
Yep. So Ozzy Cardes is my evil side would tell all these peeps to invest. Yes, that's true. I can imagine that. At this point, it's like, Brad, do you use your powers for evil or for good?
I try to use them for good. Because here's
good is a sliding scale.
Here's my thinking. Because I actually talked to some of these guys at the Lowe's Hotel that night. Because I want to get a feel like, do they collect as well as? Because you can do both, you know. Because if they're not collectors, they're probably not going to stay in it for very long. And I want them to stay in it.
Yep.
That's the thing. I want that to be a regular thing, but not just as always about money, you know.
I get it.
So yeah, I talked to him, and I would say sadly, 20% collect.
Really?
So
honestly, that's probably about right. That's probably a fair ratio.
So that's probably what you figured.
Yeah, but don't forget. Don't forget. We're talking about a very large group of people, and a lot of people got drawn. Remember, we broke the record now in the last. And to Bobby's point, probably we could have broken the record last year with the way things were trending, but a lot of that came in. It's like, why are all these people suddenly interested? Because there's money.
Right. It's mainstream now.
Otherwise, in 2018, we would have broken a record, but we didn't.
And a large part of that too was the social. That's really where everything came together. I get to meet this guy. I get to meet this guy. It's great.
No,
and when you know people, opposed to just going by yourself, it's kind of.
But you can have a social thing in multiple ways. So let me give you a tangible example that plays into the content thing. Exactly what we've been talking about. So quickly, I'll get this comment here. One of the aliases, Saggy. Please don't hurt Ziggy's your idol. He is a gentleman and a scholar, and I will not hear different. Moving on. Anyway, what I was saying is that, so I'll use an example. Roth cards. He's one of the guys that I pay attention to. He's one of the newer flipper kids who was started off as a shoe kid, right? Shoe flipper kid. What is he on his videos? Sheesh. Ooh. Ah. Oh, the whole video.
I don't watch it. So
yeah, but that's all it is. It's like an endless array of that. And you need a haircut. It's an endless array of that. Possibly a shower and a haircut. But here's the thing. He's got his buddies that he goes around the card show circuit with. They're hanging out. They're going in. And then they're chatting with this, that, and the other thing. And here's the thing. I keep trying to separate this. I love to mock things. This is not a surprise. I love it. It's part of my fun. I have fun with it. But here's the thing. Am I going to then assume that he's a bad person? No, I don't know the guy. I can't answer that. I don't know. He could be, because when he does his thing, when we turn the cameras off, he does sometimes thing where he'll give away some cards to kids or whatever. So does that make him a good guy or a bad guy? You answer for yourself. I can't answer that for you. Is he doing it because people are paying attention or because he goes, well, you know, your kids here have some stuff, whatever. It could be both. Both things could be true at the same time. So question, do you care? Let's assume he's doing it for the club, but he's still giving the kid, you know, a couple of free cards and, you know, having a quick conversation with him because the kid watches his YouTube channel and likes him, gives him a good experience. They take a selfie. From the kid's perspective, do they know that he's doing it for clout? No.
No.
Right.
Does it take away their experience? No. So do I care? So again, my question then is a simple one. So am I worried about why he's doing it? Well, you can worry about why he's doing it. I don't care about kids. I don't even like kids. But at the same time, like, look, I don't have an issue with it. Do what you're doing, whatever. If the kid gets a good experience out of it and the dad or whoever is happy with it, then what's your problem?
I think people are looking at it in a moral intent kind of way.
I get it.
To just give some kids some cards. You know, we always try to keep treating kids good at the show. That's the one thing that you do, and it's kind of known. And whether you're doing it of earnest, or you're just doing it, it's fine either way. The kid benefits at the end of the day. So I get what you're saying, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
that's,
you know,
that's all
we
I'm
know
getting
the intent behind certain people.
I understand, but we can know the intent, and the kid doesn't. From their experience. So do you want to go tell him?
Wins.
Do you want to go tell him that you were a pawn in his elaborate game? Like, by all means, feel free. Like, here's the thing: I'm a jerk, but I also care about my time. I'm not going to do that. Go ahead. Like, let the kid live his life. Whatever. You know, the guy who watches on YouTube acknowledged him. Let him have his moment. It's fine. It's not going to ruin your life. Just move on. Find something else to do. That's the thing. It's like, I get the idea, but it's like, we need to find better things to do with our time. If you tell me you have enough time to sit there and worry about what all these people are doing, I say you need either another job, a job that takes more of your time, or an additional hobby on top of your hobby because you have too much time on your hands.
So, Brad, here's the ultimate question.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate question.
How many times did you hit the ATM?
Ooh.
None.
Good.
Okay. Now, did you do any flipping yourself, or was it just from cash you brought budget wise, or
Just cash I brought that I saved up over a course of time. That was
okay?
it. And
So
that
you
was
had a strict budget, yeah.
that was a strict budget with the unless I find a card I really need, I'm willing to go a little above it, and then that's where the ATM thing could.
Yeah, well, that's why the question, yeah.
And I saw you found some cool cards, and I saw you found some cool cards for sure.
Yeah, so the last day I had a big boy that I had to try to use all the assets because somebody knew him, got it down even cheaper, started getting it closer because we were $100 apart.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got it to 50, but it wouldn't get more than that. I was like, I'm already paying what I feel is top dollar. And I was like, and it's been in your case 4 days. I was like, to me, it's like obvious. And he knows I'm not a flipper, which I did notice does matter to these guys. Well, a lot of them, not all of them. But a lot of these guys, if they kind of know you're a fan, they're willing to go that 5 extra 10 because they know they won't see it on the table the next day. You know, I seem a lot of dealers seem to do that just watching other dealings.
Mm-hmm. They're sizing you up, that's for sure.
So, yeah, but yeah, I kept strict to a budget. I actually came home with a little bit of money. So,
That's
I
good.
didn't know if you blew your budget or not.
That's
so.
all right.
yeah, I mean, it was only like $60, but I came home with it.
Your budget?
No, my budget
Just
honestly was $1,100. I will say it was $1,100.
Cool.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
picked
that's
up
a
all
nice
that
fair
stuff
amount. I think a
for
grand.
under that, you know, yeah.
But then is that including food and everything else too?
Yeah, I bought some food with cash. So
Mhm.
that includes the whole trip, you know, minus the hotel, obviously.
Mhm.
I did it for under $1,100.
Did you drive over? Or is that was that the
No, I did fly. Luckily, I booked it back in November when the
Oh,
flights were
okay.
cheap.
Oh,
160 round trip.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
That's solid.
That's
yeah.
300 now.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
day.
Okay.
So-
So that's fair.
So I saved some money there, put that into cards. You know?
Well, I was telling Bobby that for fun, late towards the weeks leading up to it, I punched in how much it would cost to fly and hotel and accommodation, and it was pushing $3,000.
Okay.
Forget about 300, $3,000.
Well, I mean, you know, I had no problem telling this because I think it's good information for the
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
Like I stayed at the Crown Plaza 4 nights So with flight and hotel, it is $1,000, and that's if you shopped.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably 14 if you don't.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
Where are you from?
I am from Ohio.
Okay, so yeah, we're 6 hours away from us here, so flight
Right.
probably a little bit more expensive.
Right. But yeah, my case was more buying it at the right time. Planning ahead saved you money, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, it shows you do not have to bring $4,000, $10,000
For sure. Yeah.
and yeah, and have a good time. Like I had a great time. 5 cards. What did I get? 5 cards. What I showed on Instagram is all I got. I did not show stuff. So
No, I think that's fair. I think it's good.
But-
and like I said, that's why I saw them and I was like, oh, these are some sweet cards. Some sweet
Right.
cards. Without
yeah,
question.
it's stuff, and it's also stuff you don't see on eBay pop up every day.
Hmm.
I refuse to go there and buy something that I can buy on eBay every day.
Yeah.
I see it all the time, and I'm just like, you do you. If you like it, go ahead. But yeah, I'm like, but you can get that all the time. So I don't. So yeah, that was my philosophy: is I will not buy something I can get every day.
Well, I think that's the reason why people go to the National. Why do
That's
I stay at
that's
home
what
and
I would have
eat for
thought.
free,
But
right?
I kind of was surprised, and it's not just newbies either. Some of the experienced guys, I thought.
Heat
Well,
of the moment stuff.
There's those opportunities to find some stuff that you don't see every day.
Yeah.
And then there's the opportunities, obviously, like you mentioned, seeing the people and doing it. And of course,
Oh,
you
yeah,
got the photo ops and all that. Like, so I'm grabbing it here from your page. This is one of
Yeah,
the
that's all
pictures
the
you had
old,
on there.
some of the old guys. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got Mike O here, and you got some folks. Now, was there anybody that was like your least favorite to hang out? Maybe somebody who wussed out on wearing a suit. I'm not going to single anybody out, but I'm just asking, Brad, just for the hell of it.
Somewhere around there. I mean, face doesn't always come in clear, but I think it's somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It is kind of hard. It is kind of hard to figure out who that would be, and I can totally understand that. I can appreciate it because it's like you just don't know until you know. It's one of those things. I agree. We may have had more than a little bit of fun with that picture and that other one. And don't think for one second I didn't enjoy it. It's like, and then it's always creepier when you do the close up though. That's what makes it fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You do the ultra close up. It's like, did you do that on purpose? Yeah, yes, I 100% did that on purpose. It's not my. He can blame Mike because Mike happened to capture the image of him right at that precise moment. Like, this is not my fault. I did not do this to him.
That is the Cheshire Cat kind of picture there.
I didn't do this to him. Like this.
No,
this is not my doing, Brad. Was I involved? No. All I did was
that
take
was
what the
friendly
content gods
people.
gave me. The content gods provided. They said, Carlos, this is for you. You may have this. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh man.
It's all fun. So you had fun. It was your first national. Great.
Yep.
Looking
It's
forward.
something I would do again. No, I'm not going to go to every single one every year.
But will you aim for AC? Hashtag slowly being removed out of phased out. Get rid of it. It's a terrible hashtag. Brad told us.
Yeah, I told you why it's bad.
It's like, unless you want to also aim for flak jackets. Dear God.
But yeah, like that was something that I saw no one mention was the fact they never checked your
Because
bag.
most of them want to get shot, Brad. They're like, we're not giving you ideas.
Yeah, right, like maybe that's what it was. I was like, because I just found it weird because I kept waiting for like, hey, we got to at least look in the big part of the bag, right?
So is this also on the cutting room floor after you gave Mojo the thing with 2? It's like, look, somebody could come in here with a semi-automatic, this type of ammunition. You could have bought it over here. I double-checked
Letting
earlier.
you can walk in right over there.
It's like, and all that got left on the cutting room floor. It's like, okay, and here's the floor plan. You could have gotten in ahead of time like this and set the charges over here. It's like, we're not going to use any of this, Brad. None of it. No. You have floor plans? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah, see, Mike, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. We only pose the questions, Brad. We only pose the questions.
See, we have a show up here in Toronto twice a year. I think that's it's nice twice a year. Once a year, I don't think. I think that's not enough.
Well, I think that's been an argumentation point. Like, so maybe this would be a good question. Are we at the stage where maybe they should consider the same thing? Maybe they should consider like, look, you got your national. You can do one in Chicago or central location like that, because this has been the whole thing. The West Coast is pretty much ignored. And right now with Cleveland out of the rotation, you're pretty much AC sucks and Chicago, which is fine.
So why not Vegas?
Because they don't want to give us nice things, Bobby. They don't want to give us nice things.
That's a question that gets asked all the time. And I've heard people ask because that Ray guy was that Ray, what's his last name? You probably know, but Schultz or something. He's like one of the heads of it. And I heard multiple people ask him about Vegas.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And he doesn't answer the question.
Well, there's a committee. Right? There's a national committee that makes the decisions on this.
Well, yeah.
That's a politician answer.
But yeah, he will not answer it. So
no.
It's obviously something obvious.
He's probably banned from Nevada. That's probably the problem. It's like,
maybe.
I cannot speculate to what that is, but he will not answer that question of why they don't go to Vegas.
I wonder.
That's oddly specific.
It's just that it's so cheap for us to fly to Vegas, like out of Canada or even anywhere, because Vegas is cheap flights because they want you there. And
right.
Yeah. It's subsidized. It's subsidized hotels. Yeah. It's subsidized.
It must be a price thing, man.
And they got venues.
Yeah. It must be what they would charge them. It has to be astronomical. It's the only thing I can think of because I assume it's money. It's always about money, right?
It could be.
So I would assume that's the case, but that's complete speculation.
The only thing I ever heard was some kind of a unionization thing, but the only thing that I would counter is that CES, which is a big conference, the electronics conference, which is a big one. A lot of the things do set up there. They do it in a convention center there too. So it's not like Vegas doesn't have conferences and shows. They definitely have conferences and shows all the time. So somehow they manage. And the things are profitable generally, so it's like they find a way, and it's not. And I can pretty much guarantee you, people would come through they'd come through the turnstiles. People would show up. People on the West Coast are right there. You're telling everybody in California it's a hop, skip, and a jump for you. They could drive over from Nevada. They could drive over to Nevada.
I'm sure Blowout has no problem taking their U-Haul and driving it over to Vegas if that's where they get to go.
They probably double the size of their booth at that point because it's like, oh, you're making it easier for us? Great.
Yes. Now, as he said Atlantic City probably pays the national come. That I've actually heard that from multiple people.
That's probably the reason
why basically like don't charge them. Yeah.
Probably the reason they're still in the rotation.
Come to my area. I just need the people you bring, and I'll give you the convention for free.
So I'll quickly read the get caught up here. So shop before you don't find eBay is definitely the way to go. Agreed, Mike. Thank you for that. Didn't some other podcast bring up Vegas months ago? You and us, Dave. Bobby is like the lead evangelist on the Vegas. It's like, do it and we'll go. So there you go. It's the black book beside the mafia. That's right. Yeah. And this is where Rick was saying Atlantic City probably pays it. There's got to be some kind of a weird arrangement though, because Atlantic City really does suck. Like I'm not saying it just to be a jerk. Like it's out of the way. It's a pain to get to because from what I understand, like the main hub would be, so let's say we wanted to go. Unless you want to fly into a relatively small airport, a tiny airport, you basically have to go to Philadelphia.
Right.
And go over. It's like, then I'll just stay in Philadelphia. That's a pain. Why am I bothering with this other stuff?
Because according to some people, I think it's only Spirit will fly into that Atlantic City airport. But like, for instance, I looked into it like from where I'm from. I would have to fly to Fort Lauderdale and then go to Fort Lauderdale to Atlantic City using Spirit. That is the only way I can get there.
Sounds great.
So
aim for AC, bros.
So when they say you have to fly into Philadelphia, that's why they say that, because any major airline, that is where you got to fly to.
That's stupid.
So far, what I've looked into and heard, I've heard from other ones. So
fair enough. So does that mean you'd consider going to 2022, or is it too much of a pain?
It's definitely a pain. So, yeah, I would probably need convincing for sure.
It'd be kind of a game day
I'd
decision.
probably have to work something out because there are people who live in that area.
Sure.
Maybe, like, ride with them the rest of the way, fly to Philadelphia, right? I might consider that. But, yeah, I don't want to have to drive. That's why I didn't drive to Chicago. Chicago isn't driving distance for me. But if it's over 3 hours, I ain't doing it. I'm not driving. Because I don't like to drive, and this is a vacation for me. I'm not going to do something I hate. So
sounds fair.
Yeah.
Well, like
I drive. I can drive 20 hours, no problem.
You might have to. If Atlantic City finds some way to be more inconvenient, maybe you'd have to. So from now on, to get there, you must drive through Florida to go back up driving.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, I am reading that. That's Florida, right? Yes, Florida. I was like, is there no Fort Lauderdale?
Nice.
That's the next
Yeah.
show.
So that shows you how ridiculous it is.
So see, if you're going to take advantage of Philadelphia hospitality to get you over, it's like, well, you got Mike O's, you got that. Now that other guy, Cryptogriff something, I forget. But if you got the Cryptogriff guy, I would only do it if he suited up and wore a chauffeur hat. Then that might be all right. But he's got to do it the whole drive over.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's like he gives up after an hour.
He's a quitter, man.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Well, you have to understand, for us to come down, and then we're 25% back on the dollar on top of everything else on buying things, as we have been for so long. It's been up to 50-60% at certain times. So you pay $3,000 for. We're looking for hockey and maybe some non-sports or whatever else we're looking for, and we don't find it. It's a $3,000 vacation without your wife. It's hard to justify. And then you have spending money, the $1,100 I got to bring, right?
Now, Bobby, are you strictly a hockey collector, or do you dabble in other stuff?
Oh, I dabble in, but I don't really do cards so much, Brad. I display boxes, odd, weird pieces, different kind of stuff. I like memorabilia more than
because I can tell you. It would not be worth it for you to come for the cards.
No.
So 100%. I can tell you that right now. You'd waste your time.
Yeah,
or the collectibles.
That's why you were coming. You're right.
Yeah, the numbers wouldn't work.
Social.
Right, exactly.
Social, you'll have a great time.
Because I know so many people.
Right.
So many years. So.
The problem we run into is basically that math problem. Is that for us it would be like a couple of grand to go over. It's like, yeah. So to go hang out with the guys, it's like, so you want me to pay like $3,000 for that?
Yeah. 3 to 4.
I'm gonna pass on that, you guys. Like, you know what? Send vlogs. It was good. It was good. Oh, find Daps Man. Let's see if you can take some pictures. Find Daps Man. Let me know. Let me know. It's one of those things where it's like, I understand the idea and like, I totally agree. Like, I genuinely do agree. Yep. At this point, I don't go to the Fall Expo for the cards because I can buy pretty much everything I want on eBay. I'm not strictly a hockey guy. I would collect baseball and stuff like that. But again, I'm not paying that much money to go over there to get that. Because most of that stuff I can, in fact, find on eBay. Or I can make arrangements with the dealers who will be at the National. Hell, I can tell one of them to go buy it for me and set up that arrangement. It's like, I don't have to be physically in the space to do that.
And the expo's a half an hour away from me to drive. So it's in your...
Oh, it's the expo is literally, they've made it so easy and convenient for me that's a no-brainer for me just because of that. But it's one of those things where also... I basically spend half my time hanging behind one of the dealer booths, just sitting there chatting, because I don't need to walk the aisles more than a little bit, just to look around, just to see if there's something new. Because most of the stuff I'm collecting is available enough where it's like, okay, if it's not here, it is on eBay.
And the airport's across the street.
It is. 100%.
You can walk from the airport.
Now, the one thing I said, and this was going to be interesting, and this is maybe something that would apply to Dave as well, if we are able to have the Fall Expo when he does come up. Dave won't care. But I'd be curious to see if the expo guys try to mimic the trade show thing, because we don't really have a convenient way to do that. That's what I mentioned on Friday. It's like, we don't really have a way of, like, it's not like the hotels nearby are set up with the capacity. You can't just spontaneously put 500 or 1,000 people in there randomly. They're not designed.
There's enough around, though.
Sure, if you break it up into individual pieces, like, here's 100 people here, 100 over there, down the street there.
Yeah. It's
like,
not that. There's no
in one expansive space. Like, you can't. Yeah. I don't think they can pull that stunt. It's not going to work.
No, but everything is 5-10 minutes away from most of the hotels, and there's quite a few around.
Sure, but I think what made it work for this spontaneous one was the fact there was enough room in that one hotel that people could congregate. Yeah, there was enough physical space there. Otherwise, that would never materialize. A couple of people maybe would have traded a couple of cards somewhere, and that would have been it. That would have been the end of it.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So Rick here says, Michael said he would give him a ride from the airport. That's fair enough. Trinkets and knickknacks. Here you go. Jeremy will rent out the Skydome for trade night. Brilliant. Go rent out a place that's completely off in the distance, all the way over there. That's some sound thinking. I like it. He'll be there by himself.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't really had a trade night up here. Was there trade nights in at the National in previous years?
Yes.
The last couple of years, yes, for sure. The last couple.
But there hasn't been a National for 2 years, so.
No, but I mean, prior to that, the last previous couple, because Card Collector 2 inherited it. He was working with somebody else, and then he inherited it and kind of carried it forward. Yeah. So prior to the pandemic, for a few years prior to that, they had started doing this as a formal thing. Prior to that, there had been informal trade nights where a bunch of folks would get together, go,
always
hey,
everywhere,
after
yeah,
the show, let's go meet up here and let's,
Sure.
because it's easier to talk in a space. We're off on the side instead of at the show floor.
True enough.
It made logical sense, but he actually created an organized one, and apparently it was madness because I saw Filmington and I saw a bunch of folks there.
Yeah, I
Filmington
saw
was in his
Micro's
element.
picture because I think he went over there for a short time, and I think he had a picture of it. I'm just like, yeah, I dealt with that for 8 hours at the show. I'm good. I was like, unless you walk in there saying looking for Dan Marino, like a big sign or something. Other than that, it just
See, I collect Cleveland Barons stuff. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you had the Cleveland show, you might have been able to work with it. They wrecked it for themselves. They were in the rotation, like they were already there.
Cleveland is steeped in hockey history. My gosh, the Barons go way back to the 30s. It's amazing.
Well, the Cleveland thing was just funny for me because I was joking with my buddy because he had his bachelor party in Cleveland because he's a moron. And the thing is that, so at least we've been there. So it's not like it would be unfamiliar. It's like, okay, because they'd be like, oh, it's like, hey, Nationals in Cleveland. It's like, oh, I'll drive. Excellent. I had no intention. Go on, chauffeur.
It's 6 hours.
What is your point, Bobby? It could be 6 minutes. I don't care. I have people for that.
Oh, yeah.
Psst. Come on, man. This is on brand. Work
I'm
with
driving
me.
to Cleveland like nothing. It's like not even a work day.
I care not of your words. They matter not.
Okay.
There you go. Should have mimicked Panini Redemption guy, Brad. SCCC trainer.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Did you see him, Brad?
I did because he actually does live in Ohio. I'm sure you guys know.
Oh, you know?
The Redemption guy?
Yeah, that's where his shop. No.
Oh, sorry. You're talking about
Card
Card Collector
Collector
2.
2,
Card
not
Collector
the
2. Yes,
Redemption
yes.
Oh, no, sorry. We know him. Yeah.
Have you
I
been to
met
the shop,
other guy
though?
holding the sign.
Have you been to the shop, though? We'll talk about Redemption guy in a second. But have you actually been to the shop?
I
at
have
all?
not went to his shop yet.
The new one apparently is very
Really?
fancy. The new one's
Yeah.
very fancy.
It's about 40 minutes from me, so I need to
Okay.
get there. But
Yeah.
it's not one of those you go to regularly. It would have
No.
to be like, okay, this day I'll make time to do it.
I will give him credit though. He did make it like from what I've seen, from what it looks like, from the videos and stuff they've done there. They've done as much as they can to make it a destination thing. They go, yeah, not all the time, but if you can make it out, because they do trade nights out of the shop.
You
On a
should go to a
semi-regular
trade night
basis.
if you're going to go one time. It'd be great.
Yeah, because he's got kind of the way I understand it from people is he's got the organizational skills. Jimmy's got the coin, and together
It's a good
they
combo.
make the great combo. And then they get the sponsors to give away stuff to make it even more enticing.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's a good combo together. They work well together. You do the groundwork, I'll pay for it. That kind of thing.
That's all right. Working out well for him
Yep.
or them. It's nice to see a shop like that. We don't have anything like that left here anymore.
I finally met Jimmy once. Now he didn't have any idea who I was, obviously, but yeah, he's a genuinely, you could just tell, awesome guy. Ryan, I'll have to call him out a little bit because he's always calling out people about prices.
Okay.
He was high, man, on most everything that I saw.
Oh, really? Eh?
Because he was one of the booths I had circled because I thought, much like maybe like the RBI crew guys, they comp regularly, so they'll be very close. I don't mind it a little bit, like $10, $20 higher on a $200 card. That's no big deal. But there was a lot of stuff at his booth that was, I would say, $50 more than it should be, easily. So,
price like
is this like regular? Just out of curiosity, is this like regular stuff, low end stuff, like
the common stuff?
Okay.
I would say common stuff between the 500, 100, and 500 range.
Just to provide a little context, what we're talking is that's like a time lapse from the trade night. Just to give people like a sense of like this room there, and look at the amount of activity going on. It's a time lapse to make it faster, obviously, but like you can get a sense of look at how much activity is going on there.
Yep.
People all over the place.
There's Ed, Michael.
Yeah. Oh,
No,
if you look hard, you can see Ed regretting getting the trout. It's like, can I give it back? No, you can't. You're keeping it. It's yours now.
Well, I think when some people price a little high, they leave room for negotiation.
Right,
I see
right.
People do that, and I don't really like that.
Why?
That part of it. Well, because it's a fake thing. Okay, you got it at $250.
Mhm.
You know, it's a $200 card generally. Sometimes $220, sometimes $180. Okay,
Mhm.
whatever. So what do you want to do? You want to work it down? We want to play the game?
Mhm.
It's no game to pay. Just
Because like I get like you list it for 225 if it's 200
or best offer.
Completely get that at a card show. Completely get that.
Mhm.
But like his stuff would have been 275. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm just calling it like I see it, and that's the way I saw it. So and it surprised me because I thought he would be one of the ones that was close to the comp.
Well, I think it would have been interesting because you didn't end up trying to approach him and negotiate on any of the pieces that you saw, did you?
No, because he didn't have anything personally I wanted.
Okay, I gotcha. Okay, well, it would have been one of those things where it would have been interesting to see. Like, it's one of those things where I don't care what the dealer prices it at if I'm able to go in and go, okay, how about this? Because sometimes I'll do that on eBay. They'll put on whatever ridiculous price is, and I'll put on like 40% of it. That's my offer. And they're like, I'll take 50%. Ah, so you're willing to go much lower. Okay, now we're in the ballpark. Now we're in the neighborhood.
That's why we have so many low ballers on eBay now, because everybody's going, I'm going to honor this. And he just says,
well,
no, I don't
the
care.
thing is that you have the function as a seller. You have the ability to be auto reject.
I
If you auto
actually use
reject,
that.
that's fine. That's
I use
fine.
that.
Great.
Yep, I do too.
Yeah, at least it tells me, okay, but sometimes I'll be, if I'm going to quote unquote lowball, I'm lowballing close to comps. So I want to see, especially if you're starting off real high. It's like, let me see where you're closer where you're at. Because if it's still auto reject, it's like, okay, we're not even close then. We're not even having a discussion because it's like because I did that with a card where I was looking at it, and it's a very nice card, very nice patch, but it's an out of 100 patch autograph, and it's like, it's a really cool card. Now the problem I have is that one of the big Medano collectors that I know has like 5 copies because he's a jerk. He just keeps buying the nice patches. So it has boosted the price more. It's like, you do not need 5 copies, you moron. You're the reason these prices are as high as they are because you're the one who keeps buying them. So I go in and I think he wanted 500 US for it. And I'm like, that's absurd, but okay. I bought one of ones for less. Okay. You're an idiot. I bought a 1-on-1 shield for less than that. You're an idiot. But, so I go, fine. 280. So I go about half. And then it accepted the offer, which means he didn't put the auto reject in there. But then he comes back as 400, and I'm like, no. What is wrong with you? 9. It's a nice patch though. I will say it's a nice patch. I'm like, I'm not paying 400 for that. Not when I paid for an autograph shield 1-of-1, $400 US. I'm not giving you that for a card of 100. And
something I noticed too, I was more successful when I gave the price first.
Yes. No, that's a legitimate tactics. Yes.
Because then it's like he knows I know what it's worth. If that makes sense. You know, like
Always.
I noticed almost all the cards I did buy, I gave the price first. Yeah. So I was like, okay, at least now I know. You know, because I don't go to a ton of card shows. So I'm like, you know, sometimes you hear what's the lowest you'll take? And I knew that wasn't necessarily. But a lot of times I would ask, what's your price? Because it still boggles my mind how half these dealers don't have prices on their cards. I don't.
Yeah.
It's how many people just walk by our booth because they don't see a price. And especially in the day and age of coming up with these Pelican cases, look at my stuff. And there's only 2 of you at the booth.
I actually usually don't stop, right? Because I think they're overpriced if they have no price.
Oh, right. So, yeah, I don't get these guys, man. So, because I
can remember every price,
like,
too.
You know, if it was just a card you're mildly interested in, and he's busy, I ain't waiting around for him. You know, where if you just had something where I at least know what your starting point is, you know.
I got 6.9 more miles to go. So
right, exactly. So that's just a big error these dealers make. And I know I'm not the only one that feels like that. Like, just put a price on it.
I agree. It gives you a ballpark to start off at.
Right.
It gives you something to be like, at least if it's $100 card and you put $5,000 on it, maybe I'm not talking to you. Maybe I'll save some time. I'll just walk right past you and we'll move on with our lives.
And if you're putting, hey, I'm buying, you need to have a guy specifically set there, and some of them did, that, hey, if you're selling stuff, get in line over there. That's the guy doing it. Now there's some of them that had a great setup like that, but others, there were some people working by themselves, and they would do that, and they would take up 15 minutes going through there, ignoring everyone else around their case. And I'm like, you're losing money because you're probably not buying anything from this guy. You most likely, and just errors that dealers to me made that cost themselves even more money that they could have made. So,
like we said in previous shows, there's no professional school for PSA graders or graders in general. There's no professional schools for dealers. They just learn from whichever way they think, and they don't understand. You're in a sales capacity. You have to have prices on your stuff. It's so important, and people don't realize that because people don't want to ask, and some people are shy.
Right.
And they don't want to stop, and they won't stop. But if it's a reasonable price and say, hey, it's only $40, well, yeah, okay. But if they go and he's busy with a guy, forget it. I'll be back. They never come back. Rarely.
Because if I look at his prices and I can tell, like, okay, he's just near comps on stuff.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to go tell other people, hey, check out this case. This guy's, he's going to give you the proper deal based on his prices in his case, He'll give it to you for $150 if that's what it goes for, because he's close. But so yeah, they make a big error with that, in my opinion.
I think so, but I think also the buyers do play. To your point, I think the buyers do play into that as well, because one of the things that I notice on a lot of this stuff is that you'll see folks take a very passive approach. It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, what can you do on this? It's like, I have never once asked, what can you do on this?
Yeah, that
I'm
is
like,
true.
would you take X?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they have a price on it or not, I have a price in mind. I have a price in my head. So, and I might be willing to go a little higher. I want to start lower. The whole point of this negotiation is I would like to purchase this item for $1. Sir, that is a Bobby Orr rookie PSA 10. I will give you $1. I'm willing to go to $1.50. And then eventually you end up at maybe the price that you're supposed to end up at. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Now, obviously, if you lowball sufficiently, they will be like, please go away.
Right. That's why you got to be careful.
Yeah.
But usually, like most stuff I bought, it does not have a definitive price. Stuff numbered to 5 doesn't have a definitive price. Yeah. So I'll be like 240 to 280. So I'll start at 240 and then see what he comes back with, or if he comes back with anything. And that's how I do it, is I'll start with the low, but enough to where he has to think about it. That's the way I did. It seemed like I was successful when I did that. So
yeah,
I always ask.
It generally doesn't hurt. Yeah. Because usually if you understand the market for the stuff you're buying well, it's going to be easier for you to be like, okay, I know more or less what the range is on this stuff, because to Brad's point, if it's like out of 5, it's obscure. It's not like, you're not going to see 100 comps on eBay.
Right.
They're not there, but you can be speaking, okay, generally these things go for about this.
Right.
So you're going to be like, this is the ballpark most of the time when I see this kind of stuff in the past, because I have some track record. I bought 10 of these in different brands in different years. They go for around this. Here's where I'm going to start with you. And you're trying to work a deal, and they're trying to get maximum dollars, and that's understandable. As long as you're all dealing in good faith, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's fair.
Yep.
I try to group things together. If I see something that's a good deal, then I kind of look for a couple other things and take it from there. But I have to watch being who I am, because everyone goes, oh, is that too cheap, Bobby? I don't know. You write the price, guys. What do you know? You're about there. So it's tough. It's like Sasha says, I can't go out to the floor anymore and buy. So you have to almost get friends to buy for you on occasion.
Well, that is a real thing that happens. That's why I chuckled when the Card Ladder guys did their little vlog thing and had Nat Turner. It's like, I'm surprised if Nat Turner at this point is actually able to buy anything for himself. If he goes in to buy anything for himself, it's like, so you're Nat Turner, you have billions of dollars. That is $10,000 for you. That's an 88 Topps Greg Jeffries. But you have lots of money. So therefore, no, that isn't how this works.
It's lunch money.
All right, guys. I really appreciate you having me on for a little while.
Of course, absolutely. Bro. Thank you for chiming in. I appreciate it.
I'm going to try to catch up on some sleep, I guess, for start work here in a couple days.
Sounds that. Take it easy, Brad. Have a good one.
All right, see you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Very nice. Good stuff.
That was great.
No, it's good. It's good having a chance to chat with somebody. I wasn't sure if we would get the opportunity. I wasn't going to reach out to too many folks, but when I saw he was in the chat, I thought, hey. And I know Brad had an opportunity to check out a lot of the different stuff, and it was his first national, so he got a chance to see it with those eyes and to be able to see it. Some of the more veteran guys are going to see it differently, because for them it's going to be a different kind of show. which is
True.
really good. So
Yeah.
thanks again to Brad for popping in. And since he did pop in, I'll include a link to his channel for those of you who are not familiar. I'll include that in the description after. I'll add it to the description if you check out the replays.
Yeah, and he was honest. I like that.
Usually when you get a good collector in there, you'll get some real answers. And Brad came and Brad was on the podcast with Dave and Steve, and he was talking about his expectations leading into the national. So now you got the lead into the national, and now you got okay. So now you've done it. That's why I asked the question. It's like, was it what you expected? Was it something different? Was it better? Was it worse? Where was it? And for him, it was about what he expected, which is good. That means he went in with reasonable expectations.
Yeah, I think it's hard for people, especially their first time, to really expect.
I think we're just told. I think we're just told so much about what it was supposed to be, and the one thing that we knew, quote unquote, was that it was going to be very, very well attended. Lots of people.
I forgot to ask him if he wore comfortable shoes. Shoot. Anyways,
maybe he did get the Pope Mobile. That might have been the secret.
That's the key.
He was still upright, so maybe he did the Pope Mobile. He did something right. Anyway, so I know you guys are still I know there's still a bunch of you in the chat. So is there anything else you guys want to chat about? We had a chance to go through a couple of different things. I got to do put Redemption Guy on the screen. We showed the trade night stuff a little bit. We did a couple of videos. Otherwise, we can wind her down, and you guys can go check out Flip and Steve's thing. By the way, I blocked Mr. Wonderful because he was being a nuisance, but I actually like Flip and Steve's stuff. I don't mind him, and when he does a live stream, I don't mind his stuff. So I actually have no ill will to say. I would recommend, if you do enjoy that kind of thing, go check out Flip and Steve's channel. When he does a live stream, it's usually pretty good. He likes to interact with the chat for sure. So from all I've seen, he seems to be a reasonable guy, and occasionally he pops in the chat here too. So I do appreciate that.
How long is the drive, Dave, from Ely to Chicago?
That's a fair question. I don't know.
Hours. See, I can do a 12, 14-hour run. No problem driving. We used to drive a lot, me and my friends, and kind of a funny story. We were driving one time, and I rarely get tired if I'm driving, but I was starting to get on the nod. My friend gets on the nod all the time, so I got to watch him. So you can't relax because you got to watch him driving, because he'll drive and see this redheaded kid run across the front of him. He always has the same reoccurring thing, right? So we were both all tired, and I had to pass out in the back seat, and then his girlfriend took over the driving. So I think I fell asleep for maybe an hour or two in the back seat, and she's driving. And then I woke up and said, "Where are we?" Because I think we still had 6-8 hours left of driving. And she goes, "Oh, I can only last 5 minutes. We pulled over on the side of the road." I said, "We haven't went anywhere in the last 2 hours. We went 5 minutes down the road." I went, "Oh my God." And I said, "That's okay. I'll drive."
Nice.
Lots of road trips, doing fun stuff.
Sure. But it's one of those things where a road trip makes sense if you want to get to the destination that badly. That's the question you're asking. It's like, I don't care if you can drive 50 straight hours. Do you want to get to the thing that's 50 hours away? If the answer is yes, then it makes sense. If it's just, are you going to drive 50 hours just for fun? I guess that's your thing. Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, there has to be something at the other end of this destination to make it worth your while. Then how far you're willing to go will be based on that.
My motorcycle, I would just drive. I wouldn't care.
Sure.
But I mean, that was a pleasure, personal pleasure. Where, going to these shows, like a carpooling, would be a great thing. 4 guys going, split the gas. Everybody can take turns driving and or whatever. Mm-hmm. Some people drive longer than others, and it just saves on that big expense. Because like we were talking, and you said what, $3,000 if you did the.
Yeah, that's about what it would have been. Yeah.
It's hard to justify $3,000 for a social meeting. Sure, you might find a couple things there, but it's so expensive. And people say, "Well, come on down anyways." Yeah, it's just like, well, come on, spend $3,000. No.
No.
I don't want to spend that amount of money. So, but if I drove down there, which I could drive to Chicago, and how long would it take?
I have no idea.
18 hours?
To Chicago?
Something like that?
I don't know.
New York's 11, 12.
Okay. So
Chicago's there. 13, 14, 15, 16 hours? I don't know.
I guess so.
Did Dave answer?
No, I think they might have been trying to book his plans. He might be aiming for AC.
Oh.
Yep. Listen, we pretty much sold. We sold Atlantic City. If they were on the fence, we sold it. Go to AC. Go check out decrepit casinos, bad travel, and get shot possibly per Brad.
You have to stay within a certain district area there. So, yeah, that's what I've heard about that the show there. It's one I wouldn't go to. Cleveland, I could have went to many times. It just never did, and I could have drove there. It would have been a lot cheaper.
So do you live in Greenland?
Not that high up.
I'd be curious. Like I'll see if I can look it up. I'd be curious. I have no idea. I'm just gonna put Toronto to Chicago.
Yeah.
To Chicago driving.
I'd say 16 hours. 16, 18.
Here, Toronto to Chicago, Illinois, just under 8 hours.
It's 8 hours?
Well,
Really?
via Ontario 401 and I-94. Yeah,
And the I-94.
yeah. And that's why I say, like, your numbers seem high. I don't know how you got that far.
Well, I knew New York, so I guess because we're going up and over, so it would
Yeah,
be
because the thing is,
more
when you're in
direct.
Toronto, you're going through Detroit. And
Yeah.
then you're going around, and you're ending up with Chicago.
Because we're right in the middle of Toronto. Either you go to Fort Erie or you go down to, so yeah.
See, the
Interesting,
problem
Michigan.
357 was that Bobby was factoring in going through Fort Lauderdale, and he was actually trying to figure out the AC thing. So the Atlantic City thing is like 457 hours. You actually have to go all the way around, cross through Montana, down through Fort Lauderdale, back up, and then eventually you end up in Atlantic City.
Yeah, I was basing it on New York and going south from there. So, but I guess it's more direct once you go down and around.
Exactly.
7 hours is nothing. How's Chicago 7 hours when it's 6 hours to Cleveland?
Well, I think it's because you get to take the 401 and the 984. You get to take
It's the same thing, too. You can take the 401 right down to and then.
Well, Cleveland, you got to go around Fort Erie. Sorry.
Yeah,
Lake
but
Erie.
that's yeah, a little bit.
The other one is a little bit more direct.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
That's usually what happens. It's like if it's more direct, usually it's straighter line. You can just keep driving consistently. You don't have to have as many, go on this off ramp, head this way, and do all this.
7 hours is easy. Oh yeah, I could drive down there, no problem.
There you go. Now Bobby's ready for Chicago, 2023.
Shit. 2023, yeah.
Well, because I said this next one will be Atlantic City, and then I think it's just back to Chicago.
Oh,
That's my understanding. So.
well, you'll be a famous vlogger by then. You'll be able to hang out and do all.
Well, at that point, I'll have press passes, and we'll get the Concorde back, and it'll be a 20-minute flight.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll get teleportation done. Like, piece of cake, easy.
Just to buy whatever.
Love it. Business expense. Cool. No, that was fun, and I'm glad Brad popped in because it was really nice to get some insight. And thank you also, Rick, Mike O, Baseball Collector came in, Mike. So thank you for all popping in. I appreciate that, giving some insight. Some folks that were at the show. It was nice to actually get some of that because we weren't there. We just live vicariously through the vlogs, as many of you did. Also got a chance to do. It was kind of fun, and of course, mercilessly making fun of Ed because that seems like the right thing to do. And Redemption Guy. Because
Redemption Guy, yeah, for sure.
And we did get a Daps sighting in there as well.
A couple. Yeah, we had a little bit of.
It's good.
Daps is getting old now. We gotta focus on new.
Well, I don't think he'll get old because he's gonna get a break for a while. We don't have any reason to deal with Daps right now. He's gonna get a breather for a while. So it's not unless he does something outlandish. Maybe he lights himself on fire with Ken Golden. Like unless something crazy happens, like
Maybe.
There's no reason to leave the man be for a while. He'll come back when he comes back. He'll have his moment down the road. It's all good.
But I think, like we were talking, I don't know how you can do a national once a year. It just seems so long in between. Like a year takes a long time to go around just to, we have little shows along the way. I get it, but they're nothing compared to, actually, the little shows don't even do anything for me anymore. They're just too small.
No, I get you, but I think some of those regional shows are good for their pockets because it depends on what you're looking after. Because that's why I say used to be. I haven't been around that area in a long time. But the whole East Coast National thing, the thing they used to do at White Plains, used to be a haven for our vintage.
The White Plains,
it may still be. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'd have to see one. But if it is still, well, then that serves a purpose. You've got the Dallas show has now built itself up and developed into and they're doing it semi-regularly. It's every 2 months. So in a couple of months, they will get another Dallas show, and probably this next one will be better attended. Because this one was competing with the national. It was like Dallas show, a couple of weeks national, which was bad timing for them. But they were following their cycle. But if they do it again in a couple of months, they will have a better space in the calendar for themselves. We got our fall expo again, assuming everything happens. That's November, so we got a little space there. So we got a little time. So we'll have to see how that part plays out, but we'll see what happens. So anything else you guys want to chat about? Anything related to it? Did you have your own experience? If you went, did you have any other experiences? Anything else you want to chat about? Did you catch anything? Because I watched a lot of the vlogs and stuff, but I didn't see everything. There was so much stuff. So I
So
don't know if
much.
I don't know if you guys caught anything that maybe we missed. Any other cameos or fun things that were thrown in there. I'll give you
So
guys a
much
minute.
more.
Oh yeah, I'll give you guys a minute if you want to throw anything in there. Otherwise, we'll wind her down and we'll call her a night.
There'll be so much more once people get home and start uploading all their stuff and getting everything. Because I
Well,
don't
that's
think
what.
everybody did it at that time. I think a lot of people are waiting to get home.
Well, based on as much as we joke about it, because Jeremy had an audio setup there at the booth, I would not be shocked if he has already recorded a bunch of stuff that may end up getting used.
Oh, no, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he had like a microphone there at his table, so I'm like, I assume that wasn't for show. I assume you were going to do something with it. So because he had a little setup where somebody could sit across from him and they could talk. So
He
maybe
didn't
there's
do
some
anything
interviews in the
for live for Sports Card Live. I'm surprised.
yeah, but if if your Wi-Fi is junk in there, you're because people
Oh,
were having connectivity issues with like
really?
yeah, people were having connect with the amount of cell phones in that room, the
Oh my
interference, like
gosh.
your
Wow.
Wi-Fi would be junk, your cellular would barely be would be spotty at times. Because don't forget, people were making electronic payments too.
Yeah.
So
Everything.
so they'd have to stand there for a minute and be like, hold on.
Yeah, the electricity going around in that room. Wow.
Yeah. So if you're going to try to do a live, yes, you can, but you'd have to get it hardwired somehow.
Well, I think they have that. Can you not hook
Maybe
that up?
maybe at the stage. Like somebody did something. Because I know that in the stage they did do some live stream stuff, but that's at the stage. So maybe they had that wired up, whereas opposed to everything else was using Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
which isn't so great. So there you go. So
Take
DW
place.
here says, based on what you've seen, the hobby is currently. Okay, so okay, so this is kind of a fill in the blanks. Based on what you've seen, the hobby is currently blank. What do you want to go with, Bobby?
The hobby is. It's not a one-word answer, is it?
It's a blank. You can go a couple of words if you want.
Mhm. I think the hobby is socially busy.
Socially busy. Nice.
That's, I can't really say much about pricing because I don't really follow it too much. I just know they're in their dip. You guys, whatever, whoever collects the newer stuff. So, is that part of the hobby going to
You mean
increase?
the people who collect the newer stuff? You mean the majority of the people in the hobby?
Yeah.
Yeah. The majority of the physical people? Yes. Uh-huh.
The
But,
majority of the physical people who made a lot of money and lost a lot of money. How's that?
That's fair. I think that's good.
Whereas my guys in the hobby just kept making money because nothing happened. Nothing was affected the marketplace.
So you're the aristocracy.
Pretty much.
Ah.
Yeah.
But you keep talking like you're the aristocracy of somebody else. You're the aristocracy. Get your crown. Claim your kingship, sir.
I do. I have it right here. Don't you see that?
Now that's the Golden Knights. It's not the same thing.
No, but
If
nine
they had-
crown. We're close.
If they had gone with the Black Knights, they could have done the Tis but a flesh wound chant, and they would have won a Stanley Cup by now. Those guys suck.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but
They had their moments. They had a shot. They had a real shot. Real shot.
we had a shot too.
Yeah, a couple
So
of things.
how did that work?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we're in different hobbies, and mine wasn't affected through greed.
Yeah. What I would put in as the blank is I would just say staying the course, because I thought coming out of it I didn't think there would be any major shifts, and there weren't. The dealers that were out there that had some room to maneuver were able to, because we had it in the chat. We had somebody that said Saturday was the busiest day. We had somebody that said that Friday was busier than Saturday.
Sure.
Same people, two different people going to the same place at the same time, two completely different vantage points. The room is so big, it depends on what you're looking at. If you're standing at a booth that's dead, oh, it's way quieter over here. But then you go over there where money's changing hands every 5 seconds, because you're going to have the trade deals and stuff, yes. But I also watched plenty of vlogs where it's like, no, this is a straight cash deal. How much you want for that? $1,500, $2,000, $5,000, $8,500, $100 bills. It depends on what it was. It depends on who was buying it. It depends on what it was. It depends on what they were trying to do. Other people, oh, well, I can only do I'll trade you this stuff and some cash for that, and then that's how we'll do it.
Yeah, I guess I'm not here to monitor what the prices are going on, what people are trading or buying or selling. It's whatever. I think coming into the hobby, you're an investor, you're a collector, you're a little bit of both. It's fine. I like the group atmosphere. I think that's really good, getting together and having fun, and that makes it more enjoyable. And that's really the true sense of the hobby. Opposed to just the money, or it's finding new stuff and finding things and sharing it with friends, and that's really the hobby for me, and that's what I enjoy, and that's the way I've always been. some of it goes a little overboard with all the other stuff that's going on, but that's fine. It's always going to happen. So I don't mind it. I just stay in my lane. Stay the course.
So there you go, Paul, in less than 5,000 words. Or you can take the segment that we took with Brad where I made fun of Ed and other stuff. It's like, there's the hobby in 5,000 words or less. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Right on.
Hey, it works. Anyway, sounds good. I think that'll be it. I think that's good. This was just a bonus episode because we thought I'd have a little fun since we did get a chance to see more stuff, and we knew that some folks were coming back. We knew there was an outside shot. We get a chance to maybe chat with a couple of the folks here and there, at least in the chat or where else, and we did. We got a chance to have some folks that were there that were able to give their input. We got some conflicting reports, which is to be expected, to be honest with you, because it's your perception, right? If you're just hunched down, head down at one booth, your perception of the show may be completely different. Maybe it was the greatest show of your life. But somebody else who's like looking for something really specific, scouring the show and not able to find it, not so great. Somebody who participated in all the trade nights and the parties and everything. Oh, it was awesome. Did you buy a card? No. Well, great. It still worked out. Somebody else made huge deals, tons of deals. I'll give you one more quick one. Because he did do a little vlog, day-end vlogs on a couple of them. Elite Co 3, Nolan, who does a lot of stuff. I enjoy his stuff because he's always very transparent. He says what he buys something for, he says what he sells it for, and he says what he decides to keep for his own collection. He's very transparent and open about it. He bought a ton of stuff. He paid good money, and all of his stuff was like, I think his cheapest stuff was like $300 or $400. Most of it was $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, like multi-$1,000. And he bought a stack of stuff. He was able to make deals. He was able to negotiate. Yep. He was able to do it. And guess what? Some of that stuff will get sold. Some of that stuff will get kept, and it'll be a mixed bag. It's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
I think so. And before it used to be what so-called the hobby was. It was really about buying for your PC. It wasn't about buying to flip. Like, sure, there's some guys there now. Now it's the major part of it. To be honest, that's where everything changes in the 2000s. So everybody buys. Well, how many? I got 5 Mahomes. It's like, okay, what are you doing with them? Well, I'm going to sell a few, trade a few, do a few. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, it ushered in the era of people looking at the rising prices and funding their own hobby through it.
True.
Which is not a bad strategy if you can manage it and you have the discipline to focus on what you're doing and do it. It's not a bad idea if you can manage it and do it. Yeah,
if you do it well, though.
Yeah, and that'll always be a mixed bag. Some people are going to be better at it than others. That's just the natural way it is. Now this is a good. Now, real quick, have a good night, Yannick. Take it easy. And for Paul will get the last word. The hobby is Wesker Grifter. This is very important. All of you need to take it with you. I don't care if it says Wesker Griff on his channel. He is Wesker Grifter. He loves that. Make sure he hears those words from you. Wesker Grifter. Loves it. All right, so that's it. So today we'll take it easy and we'll finish at a reasonable time. I got to actually get some work done, even with my holiday. I'll actually got to get some work done before I start up on Tuesday so that I can hit the ground running. So that's why I wanted to start a little bit earlier. But anyway, it was fun. It was fun getting a chance to chat to some folks. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, all of you. Thank you for the comments and things as always. Next live stream will be on Friday, the normal time, usual thing. It'll be all good, and then we'll talk about something else. I'm sure something else will come up. Who knows?
Lots.
Sounds good. Have a good night, guys. Take it easy.
I know.